All right, what up, guys? We are live. So, in a surprise plot twist, Avery and Austen got into a car crash, and they're both dead right now. Rest in peace. No, I don't know. I mean, we're all supposed to come on tonight. I don't know. I think they're sleeping or something like that. So hopefully they
We're commandeering their channels.
Yeah, but we are commandeering their channels. Fuck it.
Well, actually, no, I am, because you already have 100-some thousand subscribers. So I'm going to collect both of theirs, and that's how I'm going to catch up to you in sub count.
Well, yeah, like their viewers are just like watching a podcast that they're not in right now.
Yeah.
No. The reason, okay, so someone said, can y'all do the coach versus coach thing? And said the problem with that is that was Avery's idea, and he was supposed to provide the example. So we like take turns preparing for these events, and this one was Avery's idea. So usually whoever idea it is prepares the examples, and neither me and Kevin prepared because we thought he was going to come through with examples.
So I mean, hopefully he shows up. Hopefully,
yeah, hopefully he does. Yeah.
Yeah,
I called and texted both of them. But yeah, so what we're going to do is if they don't show up, we're going to do like a little bit of a part 2 to the Debate Kevin series. But the kicker is you're going to be able to debate me as well. So you can let us know in the chat which one of you guys you disagree with. There's one thing, though. This was the only restriction we're doing this time. Anything involving John is off limits. And that's not because of Kevin. That's because of me. I made the conscious decision. As you guys know, I'm in a weird position because I'm friends with both of them. So I made the conscious decision not to allow that discussion on my channel. So other than that, anything else is fair game.
Yeah, I think that's fine. I just want to point out, too, I told you off camera, Alex, but I'm usually not the one that brings them up. Somebody does. I give them my opinion. But yeah, I think that's a fair thing to have. It's unfair to have playing with fire or just Alex, caught in the crossfire.
Yeah.
Unfairly, and I think I'm obviously going to respect that too. So last time somebody brought up that and we were just like, oh, we'll do it anyway. But even myself, I'll go out of my way this time and be like, no,
Thank you.
Let's not talk about it. We can talk about something else.
Yeah. Literally anything else is fair game. Have you noticed that white guys have become less popular with women and other black and Arab guys have gained quite a bit of popularity in the dating market the last 5-7 years? I don't think it's a substantial effect. I think there's going to be, I know plenty of girls that only fuck with white guys. They usually just don't say that publicly, but they'll tell you privately. And some girls who don't fuck with white guys at all. So I just think, I don't know. Like, I don't think there's been a massive change in preferences the last 5-7 years. What do you think?
You know what, man? I feel like I have seen a difference.
I've
seen, it's just anecdotal, but I've seen a lot more black guys with like white girls than ever. Because I actually have like, it's something that I noticed because I was away from the US for 2 years. In 2 years, I was more like in sort of an international scene. When you're in Asia, you have, the local scene, but then you also have a lot of tourists. So it's always going to be sort of different. It's mostly Europeans I was dealing with. Honestly, there's really not that many black or Arab guys over touristing in Asia. It's mostly like white European people. So yeah, I remember when I came back to the U.S., I noticed that when I went out, is there were more black guys, more Arab guys having, white girls than from what I remember. I remember specifically being like, I don't remember it being like this. It might have just been a Vegas thing. I don't know. Because when I went back to Philly for a bit, I went out there too, and it wasn't that much different from what I remember. That's possible. I mean, if somebody noticed that, there might be something to it. Hey, I'm all for diversity, bro. I am literally the product of diversity. I'm half Asian, half white, so I'm all for interracial mixing. I think it's beautiful.
Yeah, I'm like, I could care less if whoever people want to fuck, but I guess like the takeaway is I don't want guys thinking that like, oh, it's so hard to be a white guy nowadays because it's still pretty fucking easy. Like,
yeah, that's still the biggest advantage that you have.
If I had the option between being white and being any other color, I would stay white. I'm pretty I wouldn't trade shoes with any other race.
Yeah, one of your SJW haters is going to clip that. They're going to clip you so hard for saying that, bro.
They can. I mean, fuck, I don't know. I don't know, man.
Yeah, we'll debate anybody. I'd imagine most of them will want to debate me. I want some actual like real haters this time. Last time, here's what ends up happening. Usually, like the true haters, they don't actually show up because they just they are giant pussies.
Yeah.
So usually the more reasonable people who actually have balls will come on and talk to me. They'll say that they disagree with me without resorting to name calling and shit. And we'll have a pretty good discussion, right? I want to have one of those actual, like, you know, low IQ, like, you know, closeted incel haters. I want one of you guys to come on, man.
QB.
I want to talk to you guys.
Yeah.
Is this going to be the QB fest all over again?
No,
I want to make sure, I'm sure I have enough people that want to debate me. I want it to be people who haven't had a chance yet. So even people from last stream, I'm sure there's other, unless we don't have enough people, I'd rather have new people come on.
Yeah, definitely. Well, yeah, I don't want to have like the same people on as the last time.
Yeah,
That would be boring.
Well, I think unfortunately one of the people, well, doesn't matter. I think one of the people that wanted to come on to debate me, I'm pretty sure he was in the last debate, the one that you texted.
The one that I texted, no, he was backstage, but we never actually had him on.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Dude, the PR community has been so much different the last 5 years. It's just a manipulation process. Disagree with that. Alex, how long do I have to be in here to get a wrench? What does a wrench mean? Like, it's talking about to come on.
Like to be a moderator.
Oh.
Do you have any moderators in your chat? Or I know usually you have somebody on your team.
I don't even know how to make someone a moderator.
I can show you off stream.
Maybe we could educate dudes not to send dick pics to women instead of manipulating them. Who's sending dick pics to women? I don't fucking. Oh no, I have no idea what this guy's talking about. But
I just think in general that's not a good idea. If you are going to do it, just don't put your face in it.
Yeah, I mean, I think like 99% of people in the pickup community understand that you shouldn't send dick pics to random chicks. I will send a dick pic if it's asked for, if it's solicited, but yeah, unsolicited dick pics, that's not a good idea. Yo, I'm 17. Do you have advice for dating or the game? Like, is it the same for guys in their 20s and 30s? What's your take on that?
No, absolutely not. Because the thing is, when you're 17, you don't have to really do any sort of cold approach because you're in high school, right? So you already have some sort of commonality there. That's why like college is so easy, for example. That's why like guys can rack up, you know, hundreds of bodies over the course of their entire college experience if they know what they're doing, because in a way you have just on your campus, you have thousands of girls that you already have some sort of commonality with, right? So you don't have to come up with any, I don't think you have to come up with any clever line in the first place, but it's a lot. You're going to get rejected off of the initial approach way less because you guys go to the same school. So especially if you're 17, bro, I think from that standpoint, yeah, the later stages, it's like the same fundamentals, but the beginning stages, I don't think so. Like, I don't think you have to go like do any sort of like typical cringy PUA approach with some girl in your school, because chances are she's already seen you before.
Yeah, I more or less agree with that. Yeah, I'll be a hater and say it. I used to be an advocate of the PA community. Now fuck the modern PA community. Do you want to come on, Andrew? We can discuss it. I'm always down to debate people who are against the pickup community. So yeah, let me know if you want to come on. I'll drop you the link. Could be interesting.
I feel like if it's gotten better, and
yeah,
I think,
yeah, same.
Well, I think it's gotten better, and also, but I do think it doesn't help if you guys still call yourselves pickup artists, because there's a negative connotation to that based on off all the bullshit from before. Maybe you could just call it like the cold approach community or something. Maybe there's some other way, I think, to frame it. Because like I make fun of pickup artists all the time, but obviously it's not guys like you, guys like Avery, guys like Austen. But there are a lot of guys who still I would consider more pickup-y, like those guys who are like really cringe and say like, oh, what are these lines? You know, what's the exact sequence of lines that I say? I'm totally against that. I think I want to bring this up. I think Kevin is on steroids because of how much he can bench press. Prove me wrong, bro. That's the number one thing when you were a natural. When people start accusing you of steroids, that's when you know you've made it. I understand how that sounds pretty. Part of it's genetic. Because like for me, when I was a sprinter in high school, and it was like I would be running the 100-meter dash at a pretty big meet, and it would be like we'd have like 8 lanes, and it'd be 7 black guys versus me. Now I wouldn't get like first place. Don't get me wrong. I'd usually get maybe on a good day I'd get third. Usually I'd get like 4th or 5th. Usually I wouldn't place last. I don't think I ever have, thank God. But that's a good indication of you just having very explosive muscle fibers. So I know people look at me and they're like, how the fuck can this guy bench press 350 pounds or bench 3 plates for reps? It's mostly because of that. And then also I'm really good at like, yeah, I'm really good at like, I'm an expert at this stuff, so I know how to do
I
it.
think that people have a lot of misconceptions about steroids. I'm actually someone who's on steroids, and I can tell you this: steroids make a big difference in how you look. They don't make a huge difference in how much you can lift. So when I got on, start taking albeit small doses of Deca, the way I look got noticeably better. My lifts, as someone who's been working out for a while, got only marginally better. Yes, it makes a difference in your strength, but it's not like a 2x difference. It's not even a 50% difference.
I'll tell you the actual literature behind it. The literature shows that it gives you about a 15% difference in strength, which can be pretty huge if you're already like pretty damn strong.
What steroids, but the point I'm trying to make is there's much more of a difference in how you look than how much you can lift. Like I think Kevin can lift more than me, and I'm on steroids and he's not. But I would venture to say that shirtless, we would at least look equally. Right, but you're still stronger.
It depends on how lean, because leanness is the biggest contributor to how you look shirtless, like what body fat percentage you are.
Well, steroids can help make you look lean, like while.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. Especially if you take other more sus shit. Okay.
Just to clarify, I only take testosterone and therapeutic doses and therapeutic doses of Deca. I take a peptide for growth hormone production. That's about it. That's all I take.
Look at you, druggie. I'm about to make a new video series, dating coaches, natty or not. Is Alex playing with fire?
I mean, I've been so public about my steroid use.
It'll literally be like a 2-second video. Is Alex for play with fire, natty or not? No, he's not. Okay,
yeah.
Okay, so this guy Andrew is here. Do you want? It sounds like he wants to debate you, because I'm not really in the pickup community technically. So maybe I can moderate between you two guys.
Yeah, that sounds good. Let me say one more thing about the steroids thing. I think also there's so much misinformation and misconceptions about steroids, but steroids can be used in therapeutic doses for things other than looking good. Like the reason I'm taking Deca is yes. Looking good and looking more jacked is a definitely bonus, but the main reason I'm taking it for is collagen synthesis. In small doses, Deca significantly skyrockets your collagen synthesis, which is injury repair. So a lot of athletes will actually use like therapeutic doses of like various compounds to speed up their healing. So that's like, there's a lot of things you can do. Like people have this idea that, oh, you just take steroids just because you want to be like a jacked bodybuilder, but like you can use it for a lot of different things.
Really quickly, I'm curious, what are your thoughts on shirtless pictures on dating profiles?
If you have the body, they're good. I did a breakdown of a OkCupid study, which literally scientifically proved that, but also my personal experience confirms that. So I think if you got the body, they're a good idea.
Totally agreed. And also, it just depends on what you want. If you're trying to look for like a wife on dating apps, which to be honest, most of your audience probably isn't looking for that, your shirtless pics, it's possible it might, in my experience, it's possible it might actually decrease your total amount of matches. It depends on which app you're using. So first of all, Bumble, if you try to put a shirtless pic on there, they delete it. They don't allow it. It's such bullshit.
You know what's weird? They allow it though if you're not white. I've had black clients who could get away with it. It's so weird, dude.
Maybe they detect the nipple. They're like, so because like with black guys, right? Like maybe it just like blends in more. You can't see their nipple as well because of the what is it? The skin complexion.
Dude,
right? If you're a white guy, it's like it's obvious that that's there. Maybe that's what they track.
And he was like, we were organizing his Tinder profile. I'm like, all right, so we can't really put any of these on Bumble because it's shirtless photo. He's like, what are you talking about, dude? I've had shirtless photos on my Bumble. I'm like, no way, show me. And he's legit had like shirtless pictures, the exact pictures that get taken down from my profile. He could just have up, which fucking blew my mind.
Dude, that'll automatically put you at more of an advantage too. Because you're the only shirtless guy on Bumble.
What a weird double standard. Like, that's a weird double standard. Yeah, like you have to be like this dark in order to show you. Like,
maybe if it's like a bodybuilding show and you have like tan on, maybe that'll help darken your complexion. Maybe that has something to do with it.
All right, so let's bring on Andrew. Hello.
Yeah. Hey, Andrew.
Hey, man. How's it going?
What's going on?
Dude? Do you want me to sort of moderate between you two? Because it sounds like I'm not really part of the pickup, community. So I'm sort of in the middle.
It's however you want to do it, brother. If you
Yeah,
want to
we'll do that. I'll mostly let you two have a conversation with each other since you're more in the community. So I'll just jump in here and there if I need to.
Cool.
Yeah, sure.
I'll let Andrew kick it off. So what do you not like about the pickup community?
Well, you see, here's the thing. It's like I've been in the pickup community for since 2005, 2006. So I've seen the pickup artist community change dramatically through all these years, and the guys that are just now getting into it, it's like, well, hold on, look, it used to be a lot different. It used to be like this is how not to talk to a woman. This is what not to say, as opposed to you say the right thing, or you wear the certain kind of sort of workout so much and you get the chick. That's
Okay, let me ask this question. What do you feel has gotten worse about the pickup community from 2005? What do you think has gotten worse?
Like specifically, like can you be like a little bit more specific?
Well, yeah, you said you saw the pickup community change and go downhill. So I'm wondering, what are the things about the pickup community that are worse now than they were like back when you first got into it?
Okay, yeah, I can see there's a lot of fake pickup artists on the internet, who claim that they can say, "I'll get you laid in like 2 or 3 nights," and these guys, they charge like $200, $2,000 to $2,000, and they'll talk to you, and this is just like, why do you need all that? Like, well, I mean. And then I've seen it get involved with.
Wait, Andrew, hang on. There's a lot of background noise. Are you outside? Because it seems like the wind is hitting the mic or something. I don't know what's going on.
Well, see, I don't have air conditioning in this house, so that's probably my window fan.
Yeah, it's like pretty loud. Can you go in another?
Yeah, it was fine at the beginning.
In the beginning,
did
it was
something,
cool.
and now it's there. Yeah, it's hard to hear.
Let's see. Maybe it might be a little bit darker.
That's fine. Yeah, I think that's better.
Okay. Yeah, it's I'm not like.
No, it's still, every time you talk, it's still there.
I think there's something wrong with the mic itself.
Yeah, you're using your cell phone. Do you want to just log on using your computer?
Yeah, I guess I could. Well, I'm trying to think of
every time you talk, it starts off. It's actually not.
It's very difficult.
It's your microphone.
Hear.
Let me see. Yeah, I'll well, damn.
Just log on using your computer, dude.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Is here's the thing? Is like, all right. Well, it's good. I don't know. Your show might be over by the time I figure it out. I mean,
it's going to take you 2 hours to log into your computer.
Yeah. All right. Well, all right. Let me go check it out, and I'll check back with you. Okay.
Okay. Dude.
Okay.
Cool.
Hope to see you, man.
All right. I'll check back with you.
Yeah. Bro is a mic cell. Respect to him, though. I mean, it looked like you. I was curious about what.
Oh yeah, I mean,
the conversation between.
I have no idea what his argument is, but
yeah.
Maybe he just needed more time. But
yeah,
I was kind of confused about like, oh, you might be over by the time you log in. I'm like, how long does it take you to open up your computer? For me, that takes like 1 minute. To switch from my phone to my computer. It's such a quick transition. I don't know. I'm curious where that guy lives. It seems like he's like in like the middle of nowhere. Okay. But yeah, going on with that microphone would have been a disaster. So
yeah.
Okay. What else do we have? But yeah, so this is an open invitation, guys. So if anyone else wants to come on, we got a guy coming on in 20 minutes as well. We're confirmed, but waiting on that. Okay, Alex, that OkCupid is way outdated, bro. You need to show your face and pics. Also show selfies. Don't do much when you're jacked. There's better ways to show it. Okay, I heard this argument. So, that study is from 2010. I don't think attraction has fundamentally changed in 10 years. The algorithms might have changed a little bit, but attraction is still attraction. So, a lot of the stuff that was in that study is stuff I've been saying. The only exception is show your face. And I did in that video say, despite the data, I still think you should show your face. But everything else, like things like looking away from the camera, common sense, showing your body if you're jacked, common sense. So yes, I do think that if you're in good shape, you should show your body. And that's not purely based on that study. That's also based on my substantial personal experience. But yeah,
yeah, because that's a big thing. You know how like we're paranoid that some girl who's takes a bunch of selfies or whatever, like she's just like hiding how fat she is, right? You're always sort of looking if you're one of those guys who's actually picky about the girls he swipes on. I know some of you guys in the audience probably aren't, but I am. So when you do that, you want to make sure that like, oh, you see a full body picture of the girl because you don't want to be swiping right on fatties, right? So I think with women, it's probably a similar thing.
Yeah. This is like the problem. Like people always talk about, oh, the data, I want to see the science, but there's not really good science for pickup. So we do have to rely on like lower tier studies. If you got like, you can't have your cake and eat it too, so as to speak. So if you want like advice that comes from personal experience, I can give you plenty of that. But if you want the advice I give you to be based on scientific data, then it's going to be very limited because a lot of these studies were either outdated or performed a while ago or weren't performed exactly to that degree. But when it comes to pickup, there's not like, you're not going to get double-blind placebo-controlled studies like you are for drug trials or something.
Well, I think another thing too, when it comes to these studies, is they don't differentiate between what the hot girls think and what the unattractive girls think, because that would be very un-PC to do. So for example, let's say a study came out saying that, all right, well, if a guy is looking a certain direction or he's walking his dog, right? So if a guy's walking his dog in one of his pictures, he gets on average, I don't know, 50% more likes. Well, if all the likes that are coming from girls who aren't attractive, then who cares? But that type of stuff is very difficult to study, unfortunately. There's ways to do it. It's just that in the PC culture we live in, there's no way anybody's ever going to take that into consideration.
It's also really expensive to do like legit high sample size, double blind placebo studies. And like, we're talking millions of dollars, which no pickup coach, like people like always say, like, I love this argument. Like, yo, Alex, why don't you like do some studies? I don't have $10 million laying around that I can use to do like an official study that the scientific community will appreciate. Like, studies aren't cheap. You need funding.
Yeah, you don't necessarily need to do that. I mean, there's a lot of studies, especially within psychology, that they're not perfect scientific studies because you'd have to cross so many ethical boundaries in order to do that. But people still look at those. A lot of studies within psychology they take it very seriously still, and a lot of people still cite them. So we could still potentially make our own sort of what's it called? Our own study. It doesn't need to be double blind placebo. I mean, that's ideal, but not in every single case. That doesn't necessarily equate to that.
Yeah, the problem
that'd be pretty cool to do, man. If we had like a collaborative effort of trying to create like some sort of online dating study, I think maybe.
Well, I've actually done some. Like one I did recently was we want to see if super likes are worth it. So we did 100 super likes per app and 100 regular likes, and I actually have the data on that to show that for some apps super likes a lot better than others. So I've done a good amount of that. But like usually when I'm debating the SJWs, that's not the kind of study they're talking about. They want to see like a legit double blind study. Like, and I'm like, I don't have millions of dollars.
Well, then you can tell them. You could say, okay, well, how would you personally conduct it?
Well, and
then put it in their court to be like, oh, well, how do you do it? And then you could tell them why that's impossible or unethical. And then also ask them, like I said, with the psychology stuff. Oh, well, a lot of psychological studies that you probably believe in aren't that strict, but you still take it for granted, or you still take it as gospel. Right. So why can't you do it for me?
Let's bring Andrew on, and then Rad's dating. I'll get you on right afterwards. So we'll just have Andrew on first because he's first, and I'll have
Rod's dating. That's a great name.
Hey, what's up?
Welcome back, man.
He's back.
That looks much better.
Still got the cigarette though.
Well, I'm kind of a chain smoker. I'm in North Carolina. It's kind of easy to smoke here.
Right.
Fair enough, bro.
Living in North Carolina in this region, it's kind of it's hard to get by without smoking. I'll tell you that. These kind of people that live around here. But,
all right, cool. So Andrew, so the question was, what are the things that you think have gotten worse about the pickup community from now since when you joined?
Okay, so let me give you kind of an introduction. I started off with David D'Angelo. And in my opinion, he was one of the best ones because he was it seems like he was more respectful when it comes to, the whatever you want to call it, the game or whatever like that. Over the years, I noticed a lot of things have changed, and like I said, there's all these guys that get on and they want to be their own little pickup artists. People follow them and all this stuff and charge them $200 for a phone call. Like, come on, man. Like, really? Like, you think you're like some kind of god when it comes to like picking up women?
Well, I mean, like, okay, let me respond to that.
No, well, not you, but like, those guys that do that.
No, well, I charge, for the record, I charge $250 an hour, so I charge even more than that. But the thing is that I don't think how much someone charges has anything to do whether they're a scammer or not. It's the market. The marketplace determines the cost. So I have people who are willing to pay me $500 an hour. I could charge $500 an hour if I want to, right? I just choose not to. I just choose to keep it at like $250, $295. But yeah, like, it doesn't mean I don't think I'm God. And all the other people I know who charge $250 an hour don't think they're God. That's just what the marketplace offers. Like, you'd have to be a complete dumb fuck to, like, if someone's like, yo, I'll pay you $30 an hour for this job, and you're like, oh, I'll do it for $10 an hour. Like, why would you do that as a business person? Of course, you're going to take what the market offers you. And I don't really see that as an issue.
Well, I mean, if you want to make money that way, that's cool. That's your business. Although at the same time, it's like, I don't know. I see a lot more people doing that, and it's like, why don't you just write a book or something, man? Like,
well, some people do. What do you do for work, Andrew?
Actually, I wanted to tell you, I'm actually permanently disabled.
Okay. Well, what did you used to do for work?
I was driving for Uber. And I had a 4.87 rating.
Okay. So let me ask you this question. So if on Uber, they were like, Andrew, we need you for Uber, and we're going to pay you $200 a trip, would you take it?
Well, see, here's the thing, is it comes down to what you want me to do. Like, if you want me to take you on some kind of drug run.
No, something that's fully legal. Like, I want you to drive me to the airport. I really need a ride. I'll pay you $200.
Yeah, but see, it seems kind of like a false equivalence. I'm not paying you. I'm paying you. Somebody's paying me for a ride. Like, they're not paying me for this. They're like a pickup artist. You know what I mean?
They're not paying for what?
See, you're not. Well, see, you got. This is what happens when you compare things to other things. It's like you've got to focus directly on this pickup artist thing if you want to get anywhere with it. But see, like, I mean, like I said, I've been in the community for like 17 years, and as I observe, it's like, I don't know, there's just some guys that, like, they don't want to cooperate. Even if I do pay, like, if I were to offer them that kind of money, how much would they actually cooperate with me? You know what I mean?
Well, that really depends on the skill of the coach. Like, the people who pay me for my coaching sessions, they get an excellent experience. I go out of my way to help them. But yeah, not every coach is like that. And that's like that for any industry. There's some personal trainers who can go above and beyond to make sure that you hit your goals. And then there's some personal trainers who charge the same exact amount of money who are not going to do shit for you. So that really just depends on the skill and the enthusiasm of the expert that you're hiring. That's like it with anything, any kind of skill job. There's some people who are a lot better and some people who are a lot worse.
For the record, Alex, you're way undercharging. If you're only doing $250 for an hour call, for the record, Coach Corey Wayne charges $1,000.
Yeah, I know.
So, and I'm pretty sure you're. Well, first, I think I would prefer your expertise over his in most cases, but yeah, you should probably definitely charge more.
Well, maybe I'm in the wrong line of work. Maybe I should start some kind of pickup artist thing. If I've been in the community for like this long and know this much about it,
Well, no one pays me money because I've been in the community for a while. They pay me money because of the results I get.
Your knowledge, right?
Right. Well, yeah, like my ability to execute. Right. So, I mean, yeah, if you think you're truly really good at this and you can help your clients deliver their goals, then there's no reason why you can't get into the business. But so is your issue with the pickup community? The coaches are charging more money now. Is that it?
Well, that's not the only reason. That's not the only reason. You see, uh, another reason would be is I've seen a lot of politics go into the pickup artist community as well,
Mm.
and that doesn't belong there, But I mean, yeah, how many dating profiles you see that from women? How many dating profiles do you see that say will not do not accept Trump or conservative or things like that?
When you say politics, you mean like personal bickering, or you mean like legit politics?
Well, I'd say probably both.
Oh, well, I agree with you on the former. There's a lot of infighting, so there's a lot of personal drama. But it's like that with any community. Fitness community is no different. In terms of politics, like legit politics, most of the pickup guys I know don't talk about politics. Do you know any, Kevin, that talk about politics? That's like
Well,
I mean, Austin does on our podcast, but he doesn't make like
that's like
specific.
1% of his like.
Yeah.
It's
But he,
small.
I do see Andrew's point in the sense of I think you could probably count on one hand the amount of dating coaches that are Democrats. Coach Whitepill. I think that's about it.
Well, what I was actually saying is it's like I'm, count on one hand how many dating profiles from women that you see that say like no Trump, no conservative, no, things like that. You didn't see that before.
Well, I think girls say that just because they had some MAGA voting Chad fuck their brains out and never called them again.
That has zero to do with the pickup community. That has to do with politics becoming more polarizing, which has happened the last 10 years. But that is not in any way related to the pickup community.
Well, what I'm trying to say is like now when women start putting, her political views, and if you don't fit into her political views, then you don't fall into her polarization, right?
Well, I fucked a whole bunch of chicks who've had different politics than me. The trick is you just don't talk about it. Like, so if a girl asks me, like,
Right.
oh, what are your politics? I'll just be like, politics? What? What does that word mean? Like, I'll just
But you
fucking ignore the top.
Now, don't you think there's something like ingenuine, like say if you were wanting to, get laid by a woman who was a liberal, and you had core conservative views, and you worked around that just to get laid, then I mean, wouldn't you say there's some kind of what's the word?
Lying by omission?
There's some genuine aspects of doing that.
No, I don't think so. She's not entitled. A random girl is not entitled to know my opinions on things. She's not. If I'm lying to her directly, then that's one thing. But I don't have to give her a lot of information about me. That's my choice how much information I want to reveal. Girls do this all the time. They don't reveal things about their past because they don't want to.
I agree with you. That there's women manipulate men as much as men manipulate women. It's true. So just the thing is, man, is like how many of you guys are out there like doing the pickup artist thing every day? There's just more and more and more. Like 10 years ago, you didn't see that kind of stuff. Like you had like Neil Strauss, you had David D'Angelo, you had Mark Manson. I don't know which book you felt the most helpful. Let me ask you, in your opinion, which book would you have found the most helpful?
Mark Manson's book was decent, but I would say that it was pretty basic. The content I have was like way more advanced and detailed than anything he ever had. But his was a good starting point.
And now here's the biggest issue I have, really, is the pickup artist community really teaches you how to get the woman, but to keep her around.
Yeah, I have a shitload of content on that. I have not shitload, but I have a decent amount of content on that.
Well, see, most people don't. Is my argument.
Yeah. Well, I think the pickup community is largely more focused on banging the chicks rather than getting girlfriends. But yeah, I mean, I think that's just their thing. But yeah, I've been talking about this for a while. I don't know.
All right, so really quickly, we have a bunch of other people that
Yeah,
we need to hop
get
on.
let's get the other guys
Andrew,
on.
thank you for coming on, man. And next time we do this, I appreciate your insight and everything. That was a good discussion. And for the record, I'm kind of halfway between you two in terms of your points. So thanks for coming on, man.
Thank you, Andrew.
Well, I was going to say one more thing before I leave. I appreciate you guys being considerate. As considerate as I am to you, because I notice a lot of the people in the chat, Guns N' Roses, that kind of dumb shit.
Hey, no worries, man. I mean, that's just we understand us and as ourselves. We're used to taking the fire. We're the low key public figures. Like I'm like a Z-list celebrity. Alex is like I don't know, freaking Y-list celebrity. So it comes with the territory. But yeah, we don't expect you guys to take that same. Yeah.
Well, actually, I do work with the public figure. I work with a public figure, not in the pickup artist community. He's a spiritual teacher, but he's been a public figure for 30 years. And I don't know if you've ever tried to contact a public figure personally, but
depends on how you define public figure. I've had like mainstream porn stars on my podcast and shit.
Well, I mean, actually,
definitely a public figure,
like a famous person.
Oh yeah, well, I don't think my channel is popular enough unless I have a personal connection to get like an A-list celebrity on. I have reached out to actually B and C-list celebrities, and they usually never come on.
Now, see, I was a part of your Facebook group. Now, Playing with Fire, that was the Facebook group you had, right?
That I used to have like 5 years ago.
There's another one. I don't know if it's yours. I don't know if you claim the ownership. I would suggest like going on there and saying, "Hey,
PWF Mastermind."
That's I have a mastermind group. Yeah.
But like I mean, like what I'm trying to say, really is, it's not hard to have a debate without getting, personal emotions involved.
Yeah, I got you, Andrew.
Totally agreed. That's what we try to do here.
Yeah.
I will say really quickly, Andrew, this isn't to offend you in any way, but like I started laughing a while ago because I saw this one comment.
I saw that.
Look, I have respect for everybody, whatever profession that they do, Uber drivers included. I'll never make fun of your profession. But when I saw this, I thought it was the funniest thing ever. When you said that you worked for Uber, and somebody said the pickup and drop off community. I don't know, man. When I saw that, I just started dying laughing. I'm sorry.
Man, I can't tell you how many times that, there have been women who would get in my car and be just so afraid. But when they actually like got to know me and opened up to me about their problems, like some of them would actually start crying. And I would just turn off that app and I would just listen to them.
You're
I thought you were about to say something else.
I would have been like, yo, bitch, the only way I'm listening to your fucking sob stories if you pay me. Get the fuck out of here with that shit. I ain't your therapist.
Yeah, well, see, now here's the thing. It's like I work closely with therapists. So, that's another thing. It's like, now here's the one thing that I forgot to mention is that years ago, like 5 years ago, I used to get a lot of support from the pickup community, right? I don't know what's changed. I really don't know. But, whenever I get on some kind of platform and post a situation that I have, I get bashed for it.
Well, Andrew, go on forums.playingfire.com. You can post there, and it's a very receptive community, and it's free. So check it out. But yeah, dude, we got to get the next person on. But yeah. Go to forums.playingfire.com. It's free, and it's a good environment.
Well, you'll have to send me the link or post the link in the chat, and like
I'll post the link right now.
So the main reason that people give people wrenches is like so you can post links to other websites. You see?
I got you.
Well, I'm sure I don't want to speak for Alex, but when you make somebody a moderator, that you have to be around for a while. So maybe I'll show Alex how to make moderators after this. Maybe Maybe he'll choose you. I don't know. I can't speak for him. Anyway, thank you so much for coming on, Andrew.
Appreciate it.
We'll bring the next guy on, okay?
All right, cool.
All right, have a good one, man.
All
right. Well, it looks like we had 2 other guys, but now we just have one. What's up?
Yo, what's
Rod's Pill Dating.
That's hey, Alex. Hey, Kevin. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Cool. Just wanted to say, I really like both your guys' content. So I'm not here to like debate you guys or anything. Just have a good discussion. Thank you so much for having me on. So I'll start off with the first thing. I have only like 3 points, but the first, I really feel that cold approach is dying nowadays because of our modern world that we live in now is like social media, social distancing. Like, I don't know if you guys have seen like the malls lately. There's just like not a lot of people that go in general, like markets included. Nightclubs have also taken on a different like atmosphere. Like it's kind of the atmosphere you have at work or church, like it's click only. It's not really like cold approach friendly, if that makes sense. And it's made me have to like rely more on dating apps. I mean, I still cold approach, but it's a lot different than it was 6 years ago.
So I noticed a difference even the past few years because I mentioned this a bit earlier in the podcast. I lived in Asia from 2019 to 2021, so for a little over 2 years actually. And so I have a comparison of what it was like before then in 2019, and then when I came back. Now, granted, when I came back, there were still some COVID restrictions and stuff, but even now the COVID restrictions are lifted. There is definitely a difference, a noticeable difference. But I wouldn't say it means like cold approach is dead by any means. I think,
not dead.
But I do think there is something to the fact that less people go out in general.
Right. Yes.
And a lot of girls can get validation because a lot of times girls will go out. Like if any of you guys have any female friends and they're honest with you, a lot of times they go out just because they want to feel validated by rejecting dudes, right? Yeah. A lot of girls actually want to go out to reject guys to feel better about themselves. And then, every once in a while they might actually hook up with some guy. They already get that validation now through social media, and especially over COVID where everybody only had Tinder and stuff. I mean, like Alex has that famous experiment that he had of that fat girl in Miami somehow getting 500 likes in 24 hours and all these guys DMing. Yeah. So imagine if you're just like a pretty average looking girl, how much of an ego boost you get just by being on these dating apps, right? So a lot of those girls who go out just for validation, then, they're not going to have to go out. Now, that said, you could make the argument that it might make things even easier because you could make the argument that girls that do go out actually genuinely want to meet some guy or hook up or something and not just be there for attention, because the ones that want attention can already get it at home. So that's kind of the other side of the argument.
That is a really good point.
Yeah, I would say that I do think people become more antisocial due to technology. That's not just for cold approach, it's any kind of socialization. But where I live in Miami, it's still like super social. Like, obviously no one goes to malls anymore because of Amazon, but like bars, brunch spots, it's like super popping. And like people are socializing, like people are having conversations. So like, I cold approach, I see people are cold approaching. It's like,
are you still getting good results with cold approaching in your area?
Well, to be fair, for the last 4 months, I haven't really gone out much because I've been doing some other shit. But like 5 months ago, 6 months ago, yeah. Indian P just banged a chick like 3 weeks ago. He met from cold approach. One of my buddies banged a chick a week ago from cold approach. Yeah, like my friend group.
That's good.
They're fucking chicks from cold approach all the time.
Yeah. No, I'm really glad to hear that. It's not like I want cold approach to be dead. I would never want to rely on a dating app, so I do like hearing the positive stories.
Yeah, I think it depends on what city you live, but I think most major cities are like still really social. But I think in general people become a little bit less social. It's a generational thing. So like
definitely,
my generation are still like actively social versus like the Gen Z. They're more like introverted with their fucking smartphones.
Yeah. What year did you graduate high school, if you don't mind me asking?
2008.
Okay, yeah, like I'm 2011, so I think we like share like a similar generation.
Yeah, we're a similar generation.
A little
2012 here, so
okay, we're all in the same group.
The youngest one, yeah.
We've seen like the internet grow quite a bit, and some, so
yeah. So, what was your second question or second concern?
The second concern is that pair bonding has become more of an issue nowadays, as back then you could use sex to build an attachment with a woman much easier, and now you could have sex with a woman and it does not build any attachment whatsoever.
Well, I think sex is never like a really solid. Sex is a good glue, but it's far from the only glue. And if that's the only thing that glues your relationship together, it's going to be a fragile relationship because it's really easy for girls to get sex. Even good sex is somewhat doable for a chick if she's willing to fuck around enough. So yeah, like I don't think pair bonding is like an issue. Like I know plenty of girls like who want to be in relationships, who are in relationships, who are faithful in relationships. Yeah, I just don't think sex is enough of a glue to hold the relationship together. So, yeah, if you guys are like have nothing in common, but the sex is good, I don't think that's like still going to lead to a successful relationship. There needs to be more than just sex to hold the relationship together.
But have you noticed that it's become much less of a effective, like even foundational attachment thing, that the behavior after you have sex with a woman is so much different than it was, say, like 5 years ago, because when cold approach was more vampant, you could, she didn't have more options. She only had the options that would approach, because the dating apps weren't strong at that time, or it did not exist. But nowadays with the dating apps, like the girls are running through guys at a really, really fast rate. Which
okay, so I think that is a misconception. The vast majority of girls are still not even like or don't have high body counts. Like 95% of girls have a body count of 15 and under. So this idea in the reptile community that these chicks are just like going from dick to dick is not actually real. There are some girls, but they're like 1% of the girls.
How do you know that though? Was there like a study done or something?
Not a study, but I talked to a lot of girls, and I know.
But you can't trust what they say.
Well, if I hang out with a girl for a long period of time, I do know their behavior. It's just that's just not true that these chicks or most of these chicks are running through guys left and right.
So you don't think that some of these hot girls on the apps are not running through at least one guy a week?
I think there are some, but I think most are not. No, because that's just really not how sex works for girls. So girls don't really enjoy the variety nearly as much as guys do. What girls want to do is they want to find like 2 or 3 fuck buddies that they can consistently see and just leave it at that. Because most girls still don't want to have a high body count. What guys want to do is they want to fuck like any hot chick, but most girls, they just want to get like either one boyfriend or 2 or 3 fuck buddies and just keep seeing them.
Okay, Kevin, do you any thoughts on that one?
Yeah, well, so in my experience, usually the girls just want to have. Honestly, all of them want to be monogamous in some way eventually. It's so funny. There was an interview. Andrew Tate's been going around the internet obviously lately, and he had. I think we covered it actually last week when he was talking to Adriana Chechik, that porn star.
Oh, yeah.
And even her, she was like, yeah, I still dream of meeting the right guy and being with him one day. And I think there is something to be said that a lot of women, when they do sleep around, it's kind of a cope.
Yeah, it definitely is.
But there are some women who really are just very sexual people, and it's not due to some sort of trauma in the past. They genuinely just like to have a lot of partners, but it's more the exception to the rule. But
even the women who are really, really sexual, they quite often they have still a fairly low body count. Like,
I'm sorry. When I say very sexual, I mean like very promiscuous.
Oh, okay.
As in like they get the same sort of satisfaction that guys have, but from having a large variety.
Right. Okay.
Those girls definitely do exist, but there's not that many of them, and usually they tend not to be that good looking.
It's like less than 1% of females that are running through.
But I will say this: when it comes to the pair bonding thing, I almost sort of think like, okay, well, almost like why does it matter? Because in the sense of, okay, if you're just trying to have a bunch of casual sex and you're not trying to wife up any of these girls, then why does the pair bonding thing matter? Second, for the girls that do actually have more sort of that pair bonding ability, they're going to have a lower body count. That's sort of more so the girls that you would want as wife material, right? Because like my personal dating theory, this is how I've always done it, is like I'll just date around just because I feel like it, and I'll be seeing a few girls at once, and then eventually I'll find that like one of them I actually like way more, and then I end up dating her exclusively. And actually, the last exclusive girlfriend that I had, that was a situation. I was in Vietnam. I was dating 2 American girls, 1 Canadian girl, and then 1 Vietnamese girl. And I found myself gravitating toward this girl way more. And funny enough, like these girls, I hooked up with them, either the first or the second date. But this girl, it took me till like the 7th date. And
Wow.
I don't think it's a coincidence that I ended up liking her more than the rest, because the bonding hormone for men is vasopressin, which is produced through quality time, right?
I didn't know that, by the way. That's interesting.
Yeah. And in a way,
Mm-hmm.
At least like men, this is actually kind of improved. If you watch any of Robert Sapolsky's lectures on it, we tend to categorize women into 2 different categories. This isn't his words, but this is how I phrase it. Either as a hoe or as a wife, right? I think that's pretty obvious. A lot of guys would agree with that. Yep. And so when you're in the wife material area, you're going to treat them a little bit differently, and I
By
think
the way,
in a way you want to respect, you'll end up respecting them a lot more if they hold out a bit. That's how it ends up being for me. Not for me. Part of my mind puts them more in the wife material.
I
know maybe it's not true for you, but it is for me.
I know it's like that.
I kind of use that as a test. Like I would never date a girl seriously that lets me fuck them on the first date.
It's like that for a lot of guys, but not for me. I fucking hate that paradigm. I actually spend my time. It's guys like you that ruin it for me, because then I spend.
Hear you out, Alex. Yeah, hit it.
I'm actually more likely to date her if she fucks me on the first date. But she's like, yeah, but every other guy, he said that he won't date me and fuck him on the first day. I'm like, no, ignore those guys.
Bro, yeah.
No, look. I'm taking it more from what evidence is out there for. So this is a perfect example of what I'm talking about, right? So Robert Sapolsky had this study that he talked about in one of his lectures, which is free on YouTube, by the way, Stanford.edu. He said that there was a study where attractive women, when they look at men in the eyes, dopamine spikes in their minds, and then when unattractive women look the men in the eyes, dopamine doesn't spike in their brains. But when the women turn away and they're looking at the woman, then the dopamine spikes. So what does that say?
It's like a delayed dopamine release.
Exactly. We have certain women that we just look at as hoes, where like we don't want to look at their face, we just want to fuck them. Like, so if they have a hot body or whatever, that's it. Yes, and then there's certain women where we find beautiful that like we actually genuinely want to spend time with. Yeah, this is exactly it. R versus K selection. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So
let me answer this. Solid comment from Kevin. With quality women, more time spent equals more trash, and that's wrong. This one when it comes to quality. Okay, there's nuance to this. So yeah, if a girl has a $300 person body count, I probably would not date her, because that would imply that she seeks validation through sex with random men. But I don't give a fuck. Like if I were to choose between a girl who has a 2 body count or 10 body count, it makes no difference to me. And there's no guarantee that chick with 2 body count is going to be better than the chick with a 10 body count.
Right.
Chicks with low body counts cheat all the fucking time. Yeah. So I don't see, as long as the body count is reasonable and you don't notice any kind of validation seeking behavior, I don't really think there's any kind of you're not getting a more higher quality woman. It's just like the body count is a silly thing to focus on unless it's like extremely high.
It depends on what the body count is a reflection of, right? So if the body count is really high because the girl just has like daddy issues or whatever and is secretly trying to seek validation from men through that, then that's a problem. The problem isn't the body count itself. It's like the problem is, what is the body count reflective of?
Yes.
Right. What does it represent? So for example, one of the girls I was talking about before, the Canadian girl, who actually has been on my channel, by the way. So if you caught her in some random stream, apparently Kevin missed her having no receipts, even though I had her on my channel. People just don't even fucking watch it. But anyway, so with her, she's like a very sexually like liberated person. Right. And with her, I know for a fact that she probably definitely has a high body count. I never asked what it was, but I'd imagine it's quite high. With her, I know for a fact that is not a reflection of her insecurities at all. At all. But like I said, I think that's more the exception to the rule when a girl has a high body count.
Yeah, like for me, if she has a high body count, it makes no difference. She could still potentially become a girlfriend material for sure. Yeah, I wouldn't judge her. Like, I mean, if it was like super high, yeah, of course, I think every guy agrees with that. But like, if it's if she slept with me on the first date too, she is still girlfriend material for me. But yeah, so and I wanted to ask, like, so I got to give you props for waiting 7 dates to sleep with her. Like, weren't you like feeling impatient at some point, or
Well,
how
that's
did
why
that
she
go?
became my girlfriend, right?
Oh,
Because
right,
I
right.
that it's so funny. Coach Whitepill, that fucking dickhead. He literally was like, "Oh, Kevin has no game because he waited 7 dates for some girl." Oh,
Dude,
well,
I
this
do not
girl
like
ended
Coach
up becoming
Whitefield.
my girlfriend, and I've only ever had 3 girlfriends in my entire life. And meanwhile,
Yeah.
as I was seeing her, I was also fucking 3 other girls. So like, I was
Hard.
willing to wait because I actually had a real connection with her, right? And
Yeah.
so for me, I almost use that as a test too. Like I said, Alex and I are differ on this, but for me, I'm not going to date seriously a girl that lets me fuck her on the first date.
What if she's like a
Yeah.
Maybe
10 out of
eat.
10?
We're very different on that.
What if she's a
Well, I
10?
mean, there's more to a relationship than just looks, right? So obviously, she needs to look good, right? I hate it when people say
Yeah.
that and they're like, and then that's justification for them like dating some fat chick, right? So she needs to
Oh,
look
no,
good,
no,
but
no.
there also needs to
Yeah.
be something else there on top of that.
No, I'm
Well,
going off of like.
let me actually
Go
answer
ahead,
this.
go ahead.
No, so can you ask a woman who's eaten all cuisines to well settle down for once in her life? No, one of less spirits. Okay, let's use the cuisine example. I've had the pleasure of traveling around across the world. I have money. I've eaten at some of the finest restaurants in the world. There's one fucking restaurant in Miami that's consistently good. I go there like 3 fucking times a week. And I'm going to consistently keep going there because the food there is like really fucking good and better. So just because that person has more experience doesn't necessarily with other things, as long as you're the best product, which you should be, then why would she go for another thing? Again, like there's levels of it though. If the girl has with like been with like hundreds of guys, then yeah, that's a pretty good chance that she will cheat on you. But the difference between like 2 and 10 and 15 is like, in my opinion, irrelevant.
Dude, I love it. These guys just show off the fact that they're fucking closeted incels when they say this type of shit. All right. There is a difference between the type of game that you run with a high quality woman versus a hoe. All
Oh,
right.
for sure.
So,
For sure. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. And for
That's
me,
what
I
I'm big on.
use
I'm
that.
big on
I
that.
use how
Yeah.
quickly I use how quickly they let me have sex with them to put them in the wife category or not. I'm
Mhm.
probably shooting myself in the foot if like some girl that, I might end up dating one day might see this type of shit. Again, dude, it's cope if I'm not banging any other girl at the same time. I was nailing 3 girls at the same time during that time while also dating this girl. So
Yeah,
you're a simp. You're a simp if you're only dating her and that's it. And you're just waiting to be like, oh, I can't wait for the sex. I'm just gonna be a simp. But if you're also nailing 3 other girls at the same time,
Yeah,
right,
you're
then
not a
you
simp
have
at
the
all. You're
patience to
good.
wait. You have
Yeah.
the patience to wait. But
Yeah,
these
you're
guys do not understand that because they've never actually dated more than, well, they probably haven't dated any girls in their entire lifetime, but
right.
they need
Yeah.
to, what is it? Once you've actually dated like a few girls at the same time, you'll understand that's the case.
Yeah, no, I mean, for
You
you,
have more
just
patience than me. The longest I think I've ever waited was three dates with one chick. She was actually pretty cool. I remember this one chick that was like really hot. This was like when I was coming up in the game, and like we went on like so many dates, and I just couldn't close. And like by date 6 or something, I was like, "Fuck this shit." So I went for a Hail Mary, and I texted her a video of me fucking another chick. I was like, "All right, this is either gonna do the trick,
damn.
make her jealous, or blow her out," and it completely blew it out. But
Well, that
I mean,
means you have no
Oh,
game, bro. That's you took her till date 6, bro. If you don't fuck her on the first date, that means you have 0 game.
No, dude, that was a
According
good
to the
Hail
chat's
Mary, though.
logic.
that chick was tough, man. I wonder
Dude.
if now, I think nowadays, like with my skill level, I probably would have been able to knock it down like 4 or 5. But yeah, I don't know. She just had so many hangups about sex.
Dude, I got to give you props for even thinking that, like sending her a video and having the balls to send that and just say fuck it. Like that's tough.
That used to be like a technique I used to use like to polarize, but then it just blew out way too many leads. I had a few successes with it with girls who'd be like, "Ooh, when are you going to do that to me?" But most of the time it was a blowout, so I stopped doing it.
Nice. Okay. I have another topic to keep things going.
Yeah, let's
this
do
is
one more, and then we'll just bring the.
You
next
know what? Let's bring. I totally agree. I want to debate Stefan because
Okay.
he's here talking shit in the comments. Stefan, please come on. We'll talk about this.
Okay.
Yeah, apparently Coach Whitepill has better game than me. Get the fuck out of here.
Me and Stefan
on
have
here,
had,
Stefan.
discussions too. He's really
Yeah.
cool. All good.
Yeah, he's cool, but he's freaking tripping right now.
Okay, bring him on. Bring him on.
Talk some sense into him.
Right.
Stefan, let us know if you want to come on. We'll drop you the link.
Yeah.
Okay, let's just do your last point. Rod's pill dating.
Sure. So this is a props to the pickup community that some things never die, like being outgoing and social, and even Kino, like touching the girl lightly and then warming up to the kiss. Like I still do that to this day. And yeah, like although our modern world is evolving and things have gotten so different in the dating market, some things do never change, and it's kind of nice to reflect on those.
Was that a question or?
No, it was like a point of discussion. Like
That's-
just an observation that although things have changed greatly, like some things never do change.
Most things don't change.
I'd say most things do change, actually.
Well, I would say like fundamental attraction hasn't changed. Like
Yeah,
we haven't evolution hasn't changed in a decade or 2 decades. So it's just the tools at our disposal have changed, and we need to make use of those tools. But attraction, like, is still attraction. Like that has not changed in like a decade or 2 decades. Culture has changed a little bit. Tools have changed a lot, but
Yeah.
Yeah, it's more so like what does the culture allow for,
Mhm.
and what sort of technologies are there that allow certain sexual behaviors to happen where otherwise
I'm gonna take a piss real
wasn't
quick.
available, right? So something like
Right.
the birth control pill, for example, completely changed everything.
Right. Hell
Right.
yeah. Yeah, it did.
Because really what happened is women couldn't be as hypergamous as they wanted to before because there were big consequences to that. But now there's less because of the birth control pill, right? And then also in the culture, there's a lot of shaming of slut shaming, I should say.
Yes.
And so it's being promiscuous as a woman is more sort of like female empowerment and stuff like that. And so because of that, women will. This is actually a very serious issue, which I'll probably cover on my channel. I don't really know if it's actually a good thing societally if we're all very, very like too open-minded about sexuality. I think immediately, proximally, for the people who are living in it and are benefiting from it, it's fine. But you also have to keep in mind a bunch of different societies where there were like a few guys getting all the results. All of those, the guys that weren't getting results revolted in some way, and then that society crumbled, and usually it ended up in disaster and war. And
Exactly.
I think it's definitely possible. It's like, oh, well, guys like ourselves who benefit from the 80-20 principle.
Yes.
We might be celebrating and shit now, but like, let's say 10 years down the line where the incel epidemic has increased even more. A lot of these guys might become so indignant that there's like revolutions and stuff. They won't be like holding picket signs and being like, we need to get laid.
No.
It's usually reflected in something else. But a lot of ideologies in the past, they typically target young, indignant men for whatever reason. Usually it's more financial, but I think the new thing now, when we're living in a decadent age, is going to be less financial and more based on like, oh, I'm like a sexless virgin at 30 and I'm just pissed all the time and I want something to blame my problems on. Somebody's going to take that and there could potentially be revolution. So it's something to be careful of, because that's why I talk more about just like specific, whatever. I think the grand meta ideas around this is very important because it bleeds over in society.
Yo, by the way, Austin's coming on in 20 minutes. He just texted me.
Okay, sweet.
So
where did he say he was? Was he sleeping or what?
What do you think he was doing? He was at a frisbee tournament.
Why did he say that he could show up then?
He was playing ultimate frisbee. Or no,
was it like an impromptu frisbee tournament, like a surprise frisbee tournament?
He was practicing for it or something.
I gotta try that. Yeah, never.
But yeah, let's get the next because we gotta go through. Thank you so much, dude. I appreciate you coming on, Rods.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you.
Apparently, I'm lying and I'm full of it. That's not an
no. Just want to say, if anybody is interested in seeing some of my content, it's Rod's Pill Dating on YouTube. And thank you so much for having me on. So have a good day.
Right on, man. Thanks for coming on, bro.
All right, cool. All right, let's get the next person on. I want to also that SJW chick responded, so she said she's down to come on too. So
wow! Now everybody.
The party's turning up. The party's turning up. All right, let's get this person on, who I think has some beef with you. Hello.
Oh gosh.
Well, hang on. You gotta fix your audio.
You gotta fix your audio, bro.
Okay. Lady Magic, fix your audio, please, and then I'll have you on. I'll give you like 30 seconds to fix your audio, but you got a really bad echo issue, and I'll have you on. But yeah, like fix the audio, please. I'll bring you on one more time. Let's see. Wait, hang on. Private chat. Fixed it. Okay. Hello? Okay, wait, hang on. Hello?
But there are some.
No, your audio is still fucked.
I think he's just trolling, man. His name is Lady Magic.
I guess. He was like active in the chat. Okay, dude. lady, you're gonna have to fix your fucking audio. I don't know what you're trying to do. Is this like if you're trolling or not? But it's not even funny. All right, we're gonna bring on the next person, and then I'll circle back to you in 20 minutes once you fix. Okay, did he say anything proud, chat? I'm so sorry. Okay, are you fixed or? Okay, let's just give him one more shot.
Dude, he's
Hello?
just gonna do it again.
Yeah.
He's just trolling you, man. You're falling for it every time.
I mean, I just don't see the point of like it's such a dumb fucking.
Dude, there are some losers in this world.
Like,
keep in mind, this is the biggest mistake that you and I made is interacting with the Black Pill community even once, entertaining them. Because then now they're like constantly trying to troll and shit.
Well, like, what do
right?
they get
and
out
so
of
that's
it?
what they're
It's
doing
so
here.
dumb. You got on for 2 seconds and played some random audio that no one understood.
Doesn't matter, man.
Anything off.
You gave him attention. Just they're basically the Black Pill community is basically so yeah. No, the Black Pill community is the same as a modern day female. They just want to get attention by any means necessary, right? From men.
I mean, it's so
which
bizarre.
Is kind of sus.
So bizarre.
That's a perfect example, right?
All right,
there.
well, whatever. I'm gonna kick this fucker off the stream. Such a bizarre fucking thing to do. I don't even understand it. Okay, let's bring on the next person. Hello? Oh, now he's like, Alex, you're too easy. All Kevin gets it. I'm not Black Pill though. What did you accomplish? You got on our stream for 2 seconds and you played an audio that no one understood or heard. Like, big accomplishment, bro. Okay,
you're still talking about it, man. He's fucking jerking off behind his camera right now and pleasuring himself.
Yes,
to just what happened right
that's
here.
Like,
I made his day.
I mean, if that's like, I guess it's such a bizarre mindset to me. Like, I don't know. I just can never be.
Well, porn has just become so prevalent. And people are so addicted to it.
Girls, this you're jerking off to 2 random dudes.
But dude, imagine jerking off to porn like 5 times a day for the past 10 years. You're gonna want some more novel, new things. And obviously for this guy, it's trolling you and then confusing you, and somehow that gets him hard. And he probably just nutted. the fact that we're talking about him now, he definitely just nutted right now. So congratulations, Alex. God. I don't know if that makes you I don't know.
Okay. All right, let's bring on the next person. Hello?
Hello, Nick. Nick, are you there? You're muted if you're saying anything.
You have 10 seconds, bro.
I think I saw this guy a while ago. He had his webcam on, so I saw him. He was like in a car.
I don't know. I guess he's gone. Okay, next.
Yeah.
Hello.
Everold. Oh, we have Andrew Tate in the chat, bro. That means he's gonna show his dick. Whoever Andrew Tate is, don't do it.
Yeah, no,
it's so clear.
Hello? Can you hear me? Hello.
Yeah.
Hi. Hello. It means he's gonna show his dick. Whoever Andrew Tate is.
Hello.
Everold, are you there?
It means he's gonna show his dick. Whoever.
Oh my god! Can we get like someone who's not a fucking retard on? It's just fucking retard central. All right, yeah, we're gonna have a new rule because these fucking retards ruled it for everyone. You have to turn your camera on in order to get on. This is like super annoying. I don't care personally, but I feel like it's ruining the quality for the show.
I agree.
For the viewers, because like these fucking retards can't get any attention.
Dude, I'm pretty sure that was Lady Magic. Again, like, is this the same guy who just changed his name? Don't put it back on.
Right, hello, it's not Lady Magic. Fuck.
No. I think it is.
Okay.
Damn. Fuck, bro.
All right, what's up, dude?
What's up, Alex? What's up, Kevin?
Hey.
I just wanted to come on and I have like a gripe about the pickup community or like the red pill community, I guess. And it's that it's like men and women play by like different rules, even though we're like mostly the same.
Okay, what's the gripe?
Okay. I mean, I kind of largely agree with that. I do think psychologically men and women are way more similar than we are different. Just the fact that we're human beings, but there are definitive there are definitely psychological differences between. I mean, you look at the female brain versus the male brain; it's actually built differently in certain.
Well, I don't understand. What's the argument? Maybe I missed it.
That like men and women play by like different rules. So like as you were saying earlier, how like you said that if a woman sleeps with you on the first date, then it's not really a big deal. But like as Kevin said, and like as many other guys would say, that's like a really big deal, and you're gonna like treat her differently and all that type of shit. But like when women do that to men, it's like fucked up somehow.
Oh,
So
yeah,
so
there's
really
definitely
quickly,
double
yeah. I mean, it's a double standard, but I think this is one of the cases where the science actually does back it up. So uh, the bonding chemicals or the bonding hormones between men and women, this has been well documented. It's vasopressin for men, oxytocin for women. So oxytocin is something that is released, can be released through sex. More specifically, when a woman orgasms, there is a flood of oxytocin that which is why, like, if you can make a girl come, like, she's gonna love you, especially if not many dudes have made her that way, right? Or had that happen. And so with men, it's more vasopressin, which there's multiple theories on it, whether it's just quality time in general or repeated bouts of sex that cause that bonding to happen. From my personal experience, I think it's probably more just repeated, not exclusively repeated bouts of sex, but just more quality time as a whole. But yeah, I think those double standards, at least in this case, there's actually scientific evidence to kind of back that certain theory up.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's double standards. Some of them make sense, some of them don't. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I would have to agree with that. Some are like more useful or like actually like are based in reality than others. But yeah.
Yeah. Was that your only gripe, or did you have anything else?
Only gripe. Earlier some dudes said that black guys have it easier now, compared to white guys, which I think is completely false. As a black guy, I can say
Are
that
you
myself.
black? You're
Yes.
okay. So is it, when you say it's easier or tougher? So what we were saying specifically toward like white women or women who aren't of your race. So it doesn't even necessarily need to be white women. It could be like with Asian women too, for example. Again, that's, I'm not gonna like stake my life on that or anything. It's just anecdotally, that's kind of what I think.
So the theory I have on this, I don't talk about this publicly because I don't want it to get misinterpreted. But I did talk about this in my product. Is that when in the SMV chapter, I think in some cities, if you're a black guy, you have a small advantage, and in other cities, you have a small disadvantage. So I think like in a city like, I'll kind of expand on that. In a city like San Francisco and LA, I would argue that a black guy will have a very minimal advantage to a white guy, all other factors being equal. Much more liberal cities, because I think there is like this like the girls there, like some of the girls that are just so determined to prove they're not racist that they're actually gonna fuck a black guy. And this is like actually based on like a lot of secondhand evidence. Like I had this guy that was like he was like Palestinian, right? And he was just like nothing special, but he was like showing me all the hot white chicks he was fucking in San Francisco. And I was like, dude, no offense, but I don't understand, why are they fucking you? He's like, dude, it's 100% because I'm Palestinian. These fucking white liberal bitches just want to prove to themselves that they're not racist. So they basically they do that by fucking me. Now, granted, it is a small percentage of women, but it can add up. But I think other cities like in Carolina or like the Midwest or those cities, being a black guy would be a small disadvantage.
Small disadvantage. Yeah, I get what you're saying with like the white guilt. Like a lot of women, you know, like stroking their egos, posting their fucking black squares, dating black guys. Like, oh, look at me, I'm not racist. But even in those cities, I don't think there's much of an advantage, because like what they say or like what they like try to portray, still at the end of the day isn't really how they truly feel.
Well, I think like I know black guys who crush it with girls, and I know black guys who struggle, and I know white guys like that too. So I don't know how would we even get to the bottom of that, you know, because it's like, you know, if you're, for example, I'm not saying you're struggling, but if you are struggling, you know, it could be because you're black, it could be because your looks, it could be because your game, it could be because of your location, it could be because of your strategy. There's so many factors that could be responsible for your success or lack of success. So, you know, I think it's just like I don't even know how we get to the bottom of that.
I mean, yeah, it's kind of a hard thing to study. You're gonna need like a lot of anecdotes to like try and, you know, get to a conclusion on this one. But yeah,
I will say, just anecdotally, I do think, I think it's possible that black guys have more of an advantage now than they did a few years ago, but overwhelmingly still white girls prefer white guys for sure. You could say the same thing too with other races, like, and the statistics back this up as well. Like black women overwhelmingly prefer black men. And there's really not that many white guys that succeed with black women, I don't think. I think that's anecdotal, but I think that there's more black guys that succeed with white women than white guys succeeding with black women.
Dude, black girls are like obsessed with me for some reason. I don't know why, but like every
Well,
time
other
I'm at a
than
party-
you, Alex.
Dude, I don't know why, but like every time I'm at a party or something like that, there's only one girl that goes up to me, and it's always a chubby black girl. Every single fucking time. Within 5 minutes of walking in the room, there's a chubby black girl who is like, "Hey, Mr. Blue Eyes." Like I'm like, "Oh god damn it, not again." And like I don't care that she's black, I just care that she's chubby. Like that's the part. It's always every single fucking time it's a chubby black girl, like without a fail.
Interesting. Hey man, you got to do what you got to do to add to the body count, bro. You gotta take one for the team so that you.
No, I always have to think of like elaborate excuses to like, oh, actually, I don't dance or I have a girlfriend.
Yeah, that's so funny. Okay, Everall, do you have anything else you want to talk about?
No, that's all. Thanks for having me.
Well, hey, of
Thanks
course,
for
man.
on, bro.
Appreciate you. I noticed you a lot in the comments, so it's a pleasure to. I don't know if we've spoken before. We might have in the past.
Spoken? I've been in like plenty of your streams though.
Yeah, right on, man. Why?
Back when Coach
You haven't gone
was there.
unnoticed. Yeah.
Appreciate you, man.
All right, peace.
Thanks, man. Have a good one.
All right, the TikTok chick is here, so let's bring her on.
Okay.
This should get juicy. Hello.
Hello.
How's it going?
Guess, yeah, a little stressed. Unfortunately, I'm sorry I couldn't join earlier. I had some really, really bad weather here, and unfortunately, I got into a little bit of an accident.
Oh, you're good. You're good.
Yeah, thankfully everybody was okay, but like I'm shaking.
Car accident?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah. I hope the insurance covers it. It's not great, but you know everybody's okay. That's the most important part. But
well, hey, I admire your dedication. Wanting to, you got in a car accident, and now you're here.
No, it's commitment.
I think
admire the commitment. Yeah,
we had to reschedule a couple of times, and I felt really bad. And I'm like, you know what? I've got all the information. Everything was reported, and it's good. So I'm like, okay,
Cool.
let's do this.
I'm glad you can make it.
So how do you want to structure this? Do you want me to like moderate between you two, or
Yeah,
just have a discussion overall, or what?
No, so it's not like a 2-on-1.
Yeah, okay, that's fine.
That's totally cool. I changed my format. I wrote some notes, things like that. I got a couple of pages,
Oh, wow, okay. All right, cool.
Just a couple.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So I guess I'll moderate between you two guys.
Yeah.
So first of all, what's your name? Milk Stuff?
I mix it up, like mix stuff. Sorry.
Oh, mix stuff. Okay,
Yeah,
I thought I said
yeah.
milk. Okay, all right.
Everybody does.
Mix stuff.
It's fine.
All right, mix stuff on TikTok. Well,
Yeah,
welcome to our little stream here.
Yeah.
So what are your, Alex framed this as a debate. So what are your main disagreements with Alex?
We'll just go one by one. So just kick it off with
Yeah.
your first one.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so I think one of the biggest things that I was kind of thinking about when I was watching his content, I went through a bunch of different videos and different things. And one of the main things was dating versus hookups. I feel like a lot of people in the comments were confusing the two. And it's understanding, separating the difference between dating and a hookup. You can definitely date, you could definitely hook up, but just letting partners know in advance, like, hey, this is what's going on. And I think using the type of style, whether it's a hookup style, doesn't necessarily work with dating and vice versa. So I think like the clarification on that definitely would help kind of structure the content a little bit better, if that makes sense to you.
Yeah, so let me kind of respond to that. So actually, you're not the first person to bring this up, but I actually don't think there's as much of a difference between dating and hookups as a lot of people make it out to be. I think that, like just using myself for example, I've had 5 girlfriends. I have a girlfriend now, but not at the same time, but separately.
Okay.
Every single one of those started off as a hookup. Like we had sex on the first or second date. Every single one of those started off as fuck buddy, and they all led to relationships. So I think that if you have the skill, okay, I'll put it like this. If you can hook up with girls consistently, to get into a relationship, you need an extra 20, 30%. But 60% of the work is already done after you have sex. Now you just need another 20, 30, which are things that you might not need for hookups, like boundaries and communication. You don't really need good communication. You don't really need boundaries to hook up with girls, but those things are very useful for a relationship. So I would say there's definitely another 30% that you need, but I think the hardest part, at least for guys, the vast majority of the time, is just getting to the point of sex. And also, one thing I fundamentally believe is I don't think you should get into a relationship until you have sex, because I think that just like getting into a relationship for the sake of having sex is like one of the dumbest things you can do. I think you should have sex, at some reasonable point. And then if you guys like each other and there's more to it besides great sex, then you could consider a relationship.
All right. And, to actually that, that's a perfect transition into my first point right there.
Hmm.
Love languages. So I think something that's kind of like, so your love language would be then physical. So you're very much into the physical love language between two people. So in order for you to create that type of relationship, you need that physical aspect. However, some people have more of a verbal, they want to know you, like go out to dinner, kind of chat before they get to that level, or even have an emotional connection. Some people don't even want that physical thing until they know they can trust you. And so that is totally fine to have that physical love language, but understanding that other people's love languages can change, that's just different. It's not to say that you can't have sex on the first date, not at all. I mean, you do what you do consensually, but I don't believe that necessarily it's going to be a structural thing that's not going to set up the rest of your relationship. Because if she could be bad at it, like I don't know, like, but she could be a great person and you could really love her and you could teach her stuff for sure, but like first time might not really work out the way you were hoping it would, if that's your language, I guess you could say.
Yeah, so I've heard of love languages before. Obviously, I break it down a little bit differently, but I think it's more or less the same thing. I did a video a few days ago called the 6 archetypes, the 6 types of girls you're going to meet. And yes, there's different personality types. There's some girls, for example, who will not have sex with you unless they feel a connection. And then there's some girls who don't really care about having a connection. They'll just fuck you if they're attracted. There's some girls who will only have sex with a guy who's like a legit dom, right? And there's some girls who don't really care. They'll have sex with any guy they're attracted to. So there's for sure different personality types, and you do need to be able to discern. But I think there's also a good amount of overlap. Like for example, being confident and assertive is going to be attractive to like any type of girl. But yeah, there are some differences between the types of girls, and it is good if you can adjust for that. So yeah, but that's where it gets more advanced.
I think with that too is understanding on that first connection. If the girl you're trying to get with, sometimes they can see that as being a little pushy. That can actually turn them off. So it's kind of finding that balance, that communication, like you said, because even after the first time, like there could be something that's like maybe they enjoyed it, but like, hey, maybe they want to get to know you better. That communication, those boundaries, those are still things that you need to kind of set, even if you had a good time on the first time. And I would consider myself bisexual, so I've had relations with both men and women. So I'll tell you in my personal experience, I've not done it on the first date. We tend to wait 2 or 3 dates, just personally. But yeah, so like it's just more about my comfort as well. It's like understanding, yeah, okay, like one of the people I went out with right away just wanted me to get home with him, and I'm like, all right, man, like I tried to we went bowling, and like he didn't want to pay for anything, and I was like, okay, like I'm fine doing 50-50 if you want, and like he didn't want to pay, and then he didn't want to do this, and he was like,
he wanted you to pay for 100% of it?
Yeah, and then he was like, yeah, but I'll take you home after, and I'm like,
did he by any chance, when you refused to have sex with him, did he pretend to call another girl right in front of you by any chance? Please say yes.
No, thankfully no. That would have been just like, it was just a really, really bad time. Like I thought we were just gonna like have dinner, see how it goes, kind of thing, play bowling, and then it was bad. It was really bad.
Yeah, I mean, bad dates happen for sure. I mean, I think as a man, your goal should not be to hook up with every girl. There's a lot of girls. It certainly isn't mine. I don't try to hook up with every girl. There's a lot of girls I'm not compatible with. I'm not going to be compatible with girls who are religious and want to wait until marriage for sex or until they're rich for sex. And I'm totally okay with screening those girls out. There's a whole bunch of girls who are just like you're not going to be compatible with. So the goal is never to hook up with every girl because that's just a waste of your time. The goal is to attract the kind of girls who fit what you're looking for or who are somewhat compatible with you. And that's kind of like what, now the question is, how do you communicate that? You can communicate that very directly by being like, while you're talking to a girl on dating app, being like, hey, I just want to let you know that I want to just have sex on the first date, blah, blah, blah. But I would argue that style of communication is too crass. I prefer to communicate that kind of stuff more indirectly through like sexual innuendos and like implications rather than saying that directly. What up, Austen?
Yo, what's up, man? Just got back from ultimate practice. Sorry to make you guys wait.
How was
Did you win? Oh, wait, it's a practice.
Yo,
Practice,
holy
bro.
fuck! What the hell, dude? You have like 30 people in here. I don't understand. What?
Well, yeah, because you flaked on us, so we invited people on for debates.
Damn, dude.
So yeah,
And
so
we actually
Dude,
have a
there's, like,
real life
prisoners, dude.
girl
Look down there.
in
There's
our
like 50
stream.
people in the
I know.
waiting in the video
know.
chat. Damn.
But yeah, so you kind of came on an interesting time. But yeah, me and Mix, we're just gonna probably like do a debate for like another 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like low key moderating, but I also have to use the bathroom. So Austin, you moderate. I'll be right back.
Yeah,
Okay.
let's do that. But yeah, so do you see?
Alex, don't interrupt her. What the fuck, dude? Shut up.
No, but that totally, like you just said, we're kind of bringing it back to the front again with the whole love language thing, kind of screening it out right away, just saying, hey, this is my intent. And if this isn't going to work out for you, this isn't going to work out for you. But I think it's confusing, again, that like hookup with dating. And if you tell the girl, hey, this is what I'm into, if she's not into that, that's going to change your whole dynamic. But I think there's a lot of people out there that still confuse the two dynamics. And then when they use the one in the wrong situation, it doesn't work out. And they're like, what happened? It's like, you didn't use the right technique in the right situation.
Would you say I'm one of those people though?
Well, I would say depending, again, like the examples that you give, right? So if dating versus hookup, if you explicitly say this is a hookup technique versus this is a dating technique, more of a long-term kind of relationship, clarifying that at the beginning definitely helps. But I think sometimes some of the videos that I've seen, so
oh, okay,
a lot
yeah.
of notes here. Yeah. So some of the videos I've seen start out as saying dating tips, but to me, it does seem like more of a hookup. So
Are you talking about the hashtags I used, hashtag dating tips?
I mean, no. It's on the actual title of the video. Like not
She's
just a
saying
hashtag.
that you're saying they're dating tips, but they're hookup tips. But the thing I think, do you mix stuff? Would you say that sometimes a hookup can turn into a long-term dating thing?
Yeah, I'm not denying that. However, I wouldn't want somebody to be misled one way or the other.
Yeah, I would make the argument that like 95% of my content would apply to both dating and hookups. And we can go through the specifics. There's something that you thought didn't, but I would argue that like the vast majority of my content could be for both dating and hookups.
Okay. So I went all the way back. Let's see. So I mean, I'm happy to talk to you about different types of the videos that you had. Sure. We had some different ones. So I'm sorry, I have a dog. I apologize.
You're good. I have a dog too.
Oh, what kind? Oh, there he is. Oh, it's a husky. I love huskies. I've got a boxer mix. He's down there. Anyway, sorry, off topic. Yeah, so like I see your shirt all the time, the no hookup shirt, and I'm just like, oh my goodness. So honestly, I think that depends on your definition of laid. Like, so for me, no hookups means like no sex on the first date.
But you do know that no hookups joke is like a joke. I'm just trying to be ironic.
Oh yeah. Okay. Oh no, 100%. But like I definitely know that I've seen people in the comments who are, you know, it's not necessarily you, but definitely there's the audience that's watching this is going to interpret it a different way as well. So the hookups versus like one of the things that says don't ghost me, basically like if we hook up, I'm fine with that, but like let me know it's a hookup or let me know if we're going to continue. You know, don't ghost me after that right away.
Well, me personally, I actually have a hard rule that I don't ghost people. I'm actually the last person to ever ghost anyone. If I fuck a chick, she will get a response from me one way or another. So I never ghost chicks because I personally hate ghosting. So I never do it to other people.
Dude, they made it illegal to ghost in the Philippines. Did you know that?
No way.
Look up the news article. Yeah, let me see.
How is that going to be enforced? Like the police is going to come to your house, be like, you didn't text this girl back.
Dude, they can also execute you if you smoke weed in the Philippines.
That I know of, yeah.
So they can enforce a bunch of crazy things over there.
Okay, I misspoke. Philippines lawmaker wants to make ghosting illegal, so it's the proposed bill. I don't think it'll go through.
A politician who's been ghosted on so many times that he's like, "Fuck this shit! I'm gonna make this shit illegal."
That's
when incels come into power.
Oh no,
dude! We talked about that earlier on the stream. That could be an issue, but that's for a whole other thing. We'll let you guys continue your little
keep
discussion.
Going.
Yeah, no. Okay. So let's see. I mean, I have a couple of different like things I'd be happy to talk about. Was there something that you wanted to ask me that you saw maybe in one of my reply videos or something?
I'll be honest, I didn't really watch any of your content, but yeah, just whatever
Okay.
whatever you disagree with me on is fair game.
Okay, that's fair. So
No, that's a troll. Don't let him
okay.
off. That's a troll, Austin.
All right. It's fine. I mean, like, whatever. I see the comments going by. I get it.
No.
Yeah.
I'm talking to Austin because he brought someone on. Go ahead, keep going.
Oh, got you. My bad. So, okay. So this is something that I was thinking was interesting. So alpha versus like the dominant stuff,
Huh?
like the alpha in the relationship and things like that. I think it's kind of
Huh?
funny when you use that word.
Oh.
Because I typically think of like if you're in that type of relationship being like a dominant person, it's definitely, but like what does alpha mean to you? Because whenever I hear that in school, it's and like my college rooms, it's like, oh, that seems like alpha. Like it just
Yeah,
doesn't
I agree.
what does it mean?
I agree. It can
Hey,
be kind of-
Mix, what is your name? Is your name Michaela?
Yeah.
Okay, you're pretty alpha, I gotta say.
What? Are you flirting with me on stream already? Oh my god.
It's pretty alpha to bring that topic up, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I like, because it's like, is it like, what does it mean to you? Because when my terms of alpha, beta, omega is very different than probably
Yeah,
what you would
So
think.
I think most people in the pickup industry they call alpha just generally higher status. In human beings, there is no alpha and beta.
Right.
Alpha and beta is used in other species where it's like the alpha fucks all the chicks, and then the beta like basically just doesn't have anything. But in human beings, it's more like general like it's like a status hierarchy, but there's more gradients to it. So it's like a spectrum, not like the autism spectrum, but like a spectrum of like higher status versus lower status. And each girl can have her own status too, right? So for example, like you may think a country music star is super high status and awesome. Another girl thinks he's like the fucking biggest loser in the world, right? So, but generally, like the more money you have, the better you are communicating, the more social alliances you have. The healthier you are, all that kind of stuff adds up in aggregate to your high status meter. And that makes you like, if you're toward the top, you're more alpha. If you're toward the bottom, you're more beta. Like,
I actually partially disagree with that. I think money has zero role in terms of how alpha someone is. Status also doesn't really have much of a role. I think alpha comes down to your personality types. Are you a leader? Are you assertive? Are you dominant? So I think that for me has to do with personality types. Or are you someone who takes a back seat? Are you timid? Are you afraid to speak up for yourself? That to me would determine whether someone is alpha or beta.
Okay. So you would then also compare like alpha language to like kind of like dominant BDSM language as well then?
No, there doesn't need to be an overlap there. No, they can be totally
Okay.
separate.
Okay. So you could be alpha, but you could be bottom.
You could be alpha and you could not be in the BDSM community. I guess technically speaking, you could be like a really assertive, like fucking dominant gay guy. So technically, I guess you could be a alpha bottom, but I think that's like extremely rare. That would be like an insane anomaly. But I guess theoretically it could happen. Yeah.
Well,
you know what's a really easy way to test for this is so I literally have this exercise on my program where I have two guys look at each other, no homo, and one has to out alpha the other without even saying anything. So if you make direct eye contact with someone and you just stare them down and you maintain your frame, it's basically like your presence of mind kind of with them. Yeah. One person will crack, look away, smile, feel uncomfortable. The other person will just be centered to themselves. And like, so you can see that with just eye contact. And it's something that definitely exists. Yeah.
I think that too. So a lot of times with eye contact and connectivity that way, there's a level of dominance that some people can kind of portray, but like in the way that they look, but there's also the level of connection that you can put to somebody with eye contact. Like it doesn't necessarily have to be assertive eye contact. It just needs to be like there, you're present, it means you're,
there's different kinds of eye contact.
Yeah. And like, oh boy, that would be, that's very interesting to think about too. Just like the two guys.
Another thing is each guy in different circumstances could be more alpha or more beta, right? Like, or just like more higher status, right? In some environments, people look up to me like I'm a god. And then other circumstances, I'm like the complete noob and I have no idea what's going on. So I defer to others, right? And also there's like, you ever like, I don't know, Alex, you go to game and you're like super tired or out of it and girls think you're fucking lame, right?
Yeah, your
But then
personality can change based on your mood and your energy level. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, sometimes I'm
Yeah.
like tired and I'm just like, whatever. So yeah, it can change.
Yeah, really quickly, Austin, your mic is off, I think.
Oh fuck.
No, we can hear you, but it's like the computer audio.
Oh.
All right, thanks for telling me.
Yeah.
But yeah, so do we have a disagreement on that one, Michaela? Or?
I was trying more to understand what your like what you kind of thought that was, because my understanding of that, I have a very different understanding of the ABO universe. So yeah.
What does ABO mean?
What's ABO?
Oh boy.
Alpha, beta, omega. What is omega? Is that like the end, the worst male?
Opposite, very extreme opposite of an alpha.
Yo, I don't even fall in that because I'm a sigma male. I'm like above everyone. So
no, you're not above everyone. You're outside of the system.
Dude, I'm not
everybody else is playing.
I escaped the matrix,
bro.
Yeah.
I
escaped the matrix, bro.
Yeah, but that's completely like a fictional universe of standards that there's a lot of writers out there that use those.
I'm getting
terms.
like gamma and lambda vibes from you, Michaela.
Gamma and lambda. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you know my
can
star
you save
sign?
the flirting for after the debate? Jesus Christ.
Like, would you know my?
Okay, wait. Let's see if we can do it. Alpha,
rising?
beta, gamma, delta, epsilon. What's after that? I don't know.
Zeta. I have no idea.
Austin's testosterone is probably through the roof.
Sigma's all that matters.
Frisbee tournament or whatever it is.
My testosterone is at an all-time low right now, dude. I got like 5 hours of sleep per night when I was in Toronto for 5 nights. Just fucking partied every night with Justin. Dude, Justin is such a degenerate. I love it.
Oh my god, you went out and
sorry, I'm derailing this. I'm gonna go fucking change my shirt and shit. Wax my butthole. I'll be right back.
Yeah, wax your butthole, but keep the camera on.
Okay.
All right, keep going.
Michaela, realistically, scale of 1 to 10, how extremely handsome and cute is Austin? He's a 10, right?
Yeah, what would your honest rating be of Austin?
It's kind of hard through a camera, you know. Like you get like here up, you kind of got to see the whole picture, you know. Like
he has a really tiny penis. So
oh well, I mean,
but he makes up for it by owning a 21-inch dildo. So
yeah. We've seen it. I've seen it with my own eyes.
You've seen it. Have you used it before?
I have not used it.
Oh, okay.
I'm sure Austin's used it. Yeah.
Okay. Well, he's got to tell me how it is then, and then we can go from there. I'll tell him his rating afterwards. So.
All right.
People keep saying you're underage, but I would guess you're like 21, 22.
You said you're in college.
Yeah, I'll be 24 next week.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Wow. Everyone was way off. Someone was like definitively in the comments. It's like, no, she's 20, as if like they knew for a fact. They were way off.
I'll be 24 next week. If you want me to get a glass of wine or something to prove
it. No, we believe you. You're good. Okay. That was more for the comments, but okay, keep going.
Michaela. Yeah, 24. Yeah, the quickly turning the conversation sexual versus too slow to act. That was another note I had here. There was one video I had seen where you were demonstrating a discussion between two people. One of them was talking about their job and their career, and the other person was responding very nicely to it. And it just seemed like a really like cool, like honest, like, yeah, okay, what do you do? Like, sweet. But it was like, no, don't do that. And then it was like, oh, I'm an accountant. It's like, oh, so like I'm a stripper. And it was like, whoa, what? Like it just went like 0 to 100 like that.
Yeah. I know which video you're talking about. That was a demonstration. That was a demonstration. TikTok, shut up. I want to play.
What the hell was that?
I opened up my TikTok page. I want to play the video because it was.
You watch TikTok in Spanish?
No, it's just some shit that popped up on my page. Let me play the video.
You're secretly Mexican and not actually Russian.
I know.
You just say you're Russian because it sounds cool. Not that Mexicans aren't cool. It's just that they're more common than Russians.
Okay, I think this will
save myself.
Yeah.
Hey, so what do you do for work?
I work in finance.
Oh, do you like it?
It's okay.
Have you been doing it for a while?
Yeah.
Oh, is it hard to get a job in finance?
I mean, not really.
There's reverb.
Do you think I could do it?
I mean, you do like finance?
Lack of head.
No, not really.
Okay.
Hey, so what do you do for work?
I work in finance.
Oh, cool. So you're like one of those badass Wall Street guys?
You can say that, yes.
Oh, cool. I'm a male stripper. So it's very similar to your job. You know, you take money off people, I take clothes off people.
What do you really do?
I'm a sex and dating coach. I teach men how to get laid on TikTok.
Do you really? Or you just
truly?
No, you're fucking.
Why would I fuck with you?
All right, so that demonstration I did with my girlfriend. But yeah, so the point of that video is it's bad game to just sit there and like ask questions in interview mode. So if you're on a date with a guy and he's just like, hey, so what do you do about this? What do you do that? It's a bunch of logical questions. After a while, it's going to get boring. So it's much better strategy as a guy to mix up your questions with statements and jokes, right? So I might ask a question, make a joke. I might make a statement. I might make a sexual joke. I might ask another question. But I think that's objectively much better game than just asking question after question after question like it's a job interview.
Oh yeah, 100%. I think the thing with it though is understanding the difference between, again, like you said, the interview part of it, giving where she's only being able to give short answers. Like that's an interview. That's not a discussion. But then like, oh, what do you do for work? Oh, I'm an accountant. I do this. Oh, so you're like, oh, you're badass. Well, I'm a stripper. Like I just want to be sure people understand that don't do that. Because that's going to be like a 180 in the conversation because she's like, oh, okay, we're talking about jobs and having a good time. And then, whoa, like unless you guys, again, establish that this is kind of like maybe you were joking ahead of time. But if this is the very beginning of your conversation, it just seems a bit extreme. And not to say, again, like joking, having a good time, fantastic. But like, don't flip it too quick.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, well, that video, I thought it was obvious, but that video is designed to be like during the middle of a date. That's not the beginning of the date. But yeah, if you're in the middle of a date, I don't think there's anything wrong about making a joke saying you're a stripper or something like that. But yeah, that's not meant to be like the very beginning of the conversation. It's more like middle of the conversation when you're on a date with a girl.
Dude,
yeah,
one of the girls I pulled in Toronto, I opened her by saying, I'm going to put a baby inside you. And she just stopped and started laughing. And that's how it opened. Yeah. I think one of the things with that is it knocks people out of autopilot, right? It's like the whole what's that guy? The guy who has like some weird disorder where he just keeps growing larger and he's a self-development guru. I went to his conference. Tony Robbins.
Tony Robbins. Oh.
Yeah. It's like that's one of the reasons why he curses during his coaching is it knocks people out of autopilot so they actually like have to listen. But I'm not saying that that's a good strategy. That's what I did.
Well, I think with that too, like
you have a nice voice, by the way, Michaela.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate it. So in my personal, like my own TikToks, things like that, I'll swear. I'll do what I do because that's just my personality. If I'm at work, I'm a very different person. I don't swear. There's certain things you can't do while you're working with people.
Yeah, of course.
That's just a given. And I think too, like when you're out with people that you don't know very well, or you haven't quite gotten that far in a conversation where you feel comfortable with that, there's understanding like you can't just necessarily come right out the bat and be like, hey, I'm a stripper, like, or hey, I'm gonna put a baby in you. Like you're gonna very clearly see who that turns off. And then if that's the point, if you're just trying to cut people out of the, your pool, if you go up to like he said, come up to this girl and was like, go put a baby in you, and she went, okay, yeah, like whatever. But if she's like, okay, like get away, then okay, I guess that's not the one for me. But if you go into it expecting that's going to work, that's, I think, again, the audience expecting that the same strategies are going to work for every situation. Like there's going to be failures with this, and understanding
there's failures with every strategy. No strategy is foolproof. In fact, you will fail more times than you succeed. But the put a baby in you and I'm a stripper are a little bit different on the intensity scale.
Right.
Like I don't know, like if you're at a bar, it just depends where, like what the context is. If you're at like a fucking like job fair or something like that, and like you say like someone who's trying to like network with you is like, so what do you do for work? You're like, I'm a stripper. That's gonna be like a little bit socially weird. But if you're like at a bar and stuff like that, and you're talking, and the girl's like, so what do you do for work? And you're like, oh, I'm a stripper. You say it as a joke. Like I think that's pretty socially appropriate. Like I've done that a million times and I've never had a bad reaction. But yeah, I probably wouldn't say I'm gonna put a baby in you like within the first hour of the conversation, because that would be like a little bit much.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you have inclusive signs. I just noticed that one has a dress and the other one didn't. That's very nice. Very kind.
Austen is very open-minded.
He's a very considerate person, very open-minded.
Very nice. It's great to have you in this conversation.
Top 10 most open-minded people I've ever met in my entire life.
He also has a lot of very interesting things around his room.
I see. Yeah. I mean, the walls look very empty, but those are some pretty good things you could decorate with, We got
a thing. We just need to hang it up.
Yeah.
Dude, I have really nice paintings in the rest of my house, but this office, I don't know, it's pretty bland. We got over here. We got the bunch My buddy works for NASA, so yeah.
Oh, wow.
Rocket guy.
That's amazing. That's awesome. You're from Miami, right? Because do you see when the
I don't disclose my location because then everyone's gonna move here and destroy this area for game. So
Austin lives in Tampa.
Tampa. Oh my gosh. Yeah. When I
I
first
wish
moved.
everyone moved to Florida. You know, Florida is the most relocated to state in the U.S.
Yep. I'm one of those people. I moved to Florida about 2 or 3 years ago at this point, and
From where?
New York. So
Okay, how you liking it so far?
It's hot. So I can't really complain. Seeing the rockets go up the first time was crazy. I had to make sure I checked the news because it kind of freaked me out a little bit. But yeah, it's that was.
All right, so let's get back. Just ignore Austin's flirting for now. Let's
Okay.
get back to the discussions. Okay, so
For sure.
what was your kind of response to that?
Yeah. Like I said, it's understanding kind of the situation. Like you said, I think we kind of covered that. It's situational, and the couple other things. So I've got different pages of notes here.
Sure.
So okay. Filters. We've got filters for dating apps. Women can ask height, but men can't ask weight. Want to see if truthful 6 foot. There's I was writing down all of the. There's a bunch of bullet points here. You can.
I know which one you're talking about. So it was a video.
There's a lot of things here.
It was the video I made where I made the argument that it is socially accepted for a woman to ask a man's height on dating apps, but it's not socially accepted for men to ask a woman's weight. So I was just trying to point out the irony of that.
I think for purposes of that, what I think is interesting is, honestly, I would argue that socially acceptable, it's not really socially acceptable to ask either necessarily. But one thing, it's totally your preference, and it's hard because you want to be like, well, you want to be all inclusive, but people do have preferences, and that's totally valid. And I think it's just understanding, you know what, you can ask height. I've got a friend. She is about, oh my god, she's 6'2", so she's a big girl. She's strong. She's not gay, unfortunately. I've asked if she wanted to go out, and she's like, we've hung out, but I'm like, you want to go out? And she's like, I don't swing that way. And I'm like, you look like you should. But either way, she's
basically, guys, girls care about height so much that they'd rather choose a girl over you if you're not at least 6 feet tall, right, Michaela? Is that what you're saying?
Let me clarify my position. I have no problem
over for height cells.
Let me clarify my position. I have no problem with girls asking for height. I think that's totally okay. I just think it should be okay for a man to clarify about a girl's weight too if he's not into chubby girls. That was my only point in that video.
Like I said, I think it's honestly, it's not socially acceptable, and I feel like a lot of times we're evolving the right way, social media wise, but it's taking some time to get there. I definitely feel like there's more. I notice inclusivity on pronouns and orientation and things like that. So we're getting there. It's not quite 100% there yet, but I definitely think yes, you're totally allowed to have preferences, but I don't think it's one way or the other. It is socially acceptable. It's not socially acceptable.
Well, let me push back on that. So there's a whole bunch of chicks who have TikToks where they're like, and then this guy turned out to be short, and they get largely positive responses from the audience. But when I put out my video where I was basically I was talking to a chick, I wanted to figure out if she was fat. The response was 99% negative. People were trying to shame me for it. Not that I really give a shit, but versus the chicks who were like, oh, this guy was too short, they largely get positive reception. So I do think those two things are overall handled differently by the audience on social media.
That actually brings up a good point. He ended up being too short. Did he say he was one height and he ended up being a different height?
I've seen all kinds of examples of it. I've seen examples where the girl's how tall, she'll ask the guy on a dating app, how tall are you? He'll be like, oh, I'm 5'7", and then she'll be like, and the joke will be blocked. Right. And then all the girls will be like, ha, ha, ha. Yeah. Fuck those short guys. Right. He's probably got a small dick too, which I think is fine if she doesn't want to date a short guy. No problem with that. But what I'm saying is that's not the same response I would get if I'm like, oh, and then I asked this girl this weight. I would get almost nonstop shame for that.
I think Yeah, that's unfortunate on both ends. Like that shouldn't happen. But my one thought about that was if somebody says to you that they're a certain height or a certain weight or certain whatever, and then you arrive and you meet this person and they lied, like that's a big turn off.
Yeah, I get that.
Like that to
Yeah,
me
of course.
would be an issue. Like saying up front, like I'm 5'7". Great, I'm 5'7". Like, okay, that's not going to make it too awkward for anything. But I was mentioning my girl who's 6'2". She's really big and like she's very strong as well. Like, oh my god. But like she
You seem
has
to like this
trouble.
girl, Michaela.
Oh my god, she's the straightest person I've ever met, and I'm very upset about that. So yeah, but she's from New York, and like, oh god, she's beautiful, but she has trouble finding guys that can like properly kind of match her because
Yeah, I get that.
like she's so tall and then she's so big that like when some guys meet her, they're almost like insecure about that. Like some guys go up to her and they're like, oh my god, she
Wait,
lifts.
big in which way?
She lifts. She could
Oh, okay.
she could lift me and chuck me halfway across the world, and I'd be like, go ahead, hon, go ahead. Like she's big, like in a good way, big. She's
So if
very
I was your wingman, I'd have to find you some like just powerlifting chick.
I mean, my range is crazy. Like I love like one of the other girls I had, like she was this like she's like 5'2", and she was this little chubby, and she would snuggle me, and it was so nice, and I loved her, and like I would be the big spoon. But then also the 6'2" power lifter, also great. Like I could.
So are you a lesbian switch?
I would say that I'm probably like 60-40 because I have had boyfriends in the past, but I definitely like chicks a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, my
So-
ex was a
We have that in
lesbian.
common.
Good. I mean, I was hoping that this would make the conversation a little more easy, you know.
But-
But
Yeah, because we all like girls. This is good.
yeah,
That's one thing. Well, that's one thing everyone here has in common. But to kind of respond to that point, though, I still think the reaction you would get would be different. Like if a chick puts a video saying, "Oh, I met up with this guy and he turned out to be 4 inches shorter," like every single person will be like really sympathetic and supportive of her. Like, "Oh yeah, fuck him." But if I put out a video and said, "I met up this chick who turned out to be 30 pounds heavier than her photos," they'd be like, "Well, maybe you should be more open minded. Well, maybe you can't handle a woman like that." The response would be quite different from the audience. And so I do think there's a little bit of a double standard there, which I find kind of funny.
yeah, I get that. I get that. I think again, a lot of it is unfortunately clarification, and in a TikTok video, you're not going to be able to get that. And I know you have a YouTube channel, and you definitely would elaborate more there, but it's tough on TikTok, and I just know those videos can just go out and be viral real quick. So there's definitely a different audience that's getting caught up there as well. So.
Michaela, the last girl or guy you dated, where did you meet them? How did you meet them? Give us the 1 minute, 2 minute story.
Yeah. So unfortunately, it was pre-COVID because once I moved here, 2019, I left.
Where's here? What's your street address and apartment number?
No. But no.
You seem
2019
chill. What's your credit card number?
Yeah. I mean, if you want to give me your social security first, then I'll work it out.
Okay.
I'll give you Austin's.
Okay. Yeah.
Fuck,
Sure.
Alex.
Trade.
Bro, come on.
But no. 2019, I wanted to move to Florida, and I got the opportunity at the end of the year. Unfortunately, when I got here, and I settled down, it was about March 2020. And you kind of know the story from there. So, hello.
No, this is a troll. They're gonna show their dick. Let's not do that.
Yeah, exactly. I was
Okay.
about to kick him. 'cause of that.
It's like a weird thing on like streams. Like there's trolls who like get off on showing their dicks to like random people.
Yeah.
And now that there's a girl on the panel, one who's fairly pleasant on the eyes, the chance is like 5x, 10x higher. So we can't take a chance of any dicks being shown because that would be a
Dude, I'm the only one that hasn't flirted here with
Wow.
Michaela.
Why are you
I'm not
guys afraid
flirting
of
at all.
dicks?
No, I'm not flirting
Alex,
at all.
how are you like?
Gonna
How are you in
quickly
your
turn into
30s
a
and you're
weasel,
afraid of
like-
dicks?
No, it has nothing to do with that. I don't want my channel to get shut down. I don't personally.
Who cares,
I would
dude? Build
prefer-
it up. It's about the grind.
I would prefer not to see a dick, but it's more about the fact that it will get my channel taken down. And I've had other YouTube friends who had their channels taken down. But anyway, let's get back on topic. Okay, Michaela.
Alex is
Yeah.
dick phobic,
Yeah. Okay.
Penis phobic.
penis phobic. How dare you?
Oh my god, no pee on stream, please. No pee on stream. Thank you.
No pee.
No pee. No pee.
So you don't want Austen to show his 21-inch dildo, is what you're saying? He
Is
didn't
that a
say no
pee-pee, though?
dildo.
That's what I was gonna say. It's not a pee though. That would be yeah. Oh yeah, Austin, you weren't here for that. Don't worry about that. We'll come back to that.
Okay.
We'll circle back.
Okay.
She knows about your dildo, and she, let's just say that she's impressed.
Yeah.
Right, Michaela?
I mean, yeah. If
But she doubts your ability to use it properly. So
I mean,
Yo, who are these other people waiting down here? I'm so confused.
just random people that we had on.
They're all here to
before-
simp for Michaela.
Before they were here before
until-
Michaela.
Once she
came on.
showed up, all these guys showed up.
Because
That's how it
when
works.
you and
On
Avery
YouTube.
rudely did not respond to my text and phone call, we thought we'd just do an open panel.
Bro,
again,
I was
I'm sorry.
tasting
I got
plastic.
into an accident. I would have been here earlier. if
No,
I
you're
was-
good. You're good. It's more often that I'm disappointed with. But
I'm sorry. Michaela, thanks for coming through. You're the new guest. You're the new co-host.
Oh,
I'll
thank
just
you.
I'll just leave.
Love to be here.
come on, let's get back on topic. Oh, did Austin just disappear?
He said I was a new co-host. I've been promoted. Oh, he's back. Okay.
I'll be the guest now. Hey, what's
Okay,
up, guys?
sounds good. Hello, welcome to
You
our
guys
show.
want to ask me questions and stuff?
All right, no, let's get back to the debate. Hang on. We're
Yeah,
getting way too
yeah.
off track.
What debate, dude? What debate? What's the debate topic?
We're
Well, she has
Let's
some
get
disagreements
some
about topic.
more heated
Yeah,
debate
she-
topics.
we
You
were
guys
talking-
haven't really disagreed on anything. She's just like,
I
oh,
know-
this
I know,
would be
but what
nicer
we-
of this, and then you're like, oh, well, I
All
guess.
right, I'll
Well,
spice
we-
it up a bit. I'll spice
Yeah,
it up.
sure.
So, Michaela, do you think Alex's content on TikTok specifically is overall a net good or a net bad, and why?
okay. That's a good question. So net wise,
Like, do you think the world would be
Yeah.
a better place if his TikTok account didn't exist, or would it be better if it did exist?
If she has to think about it for that long, I think I know the answer.
yeah, I personally
Don't hold back.
okay. I think that straight on TikTok, as the content I see, it's definitely attracting an audience that has some more toxic traits. There's definitely some toxic energy that is being attracted by this account. It's not to say every single guy there is awful, but it does tend to attract people who very strongly believe, like we had discussed earlier, that they should be the dominant in a certain situation. They should be yeah,
Which would be a net negative then.
yeah, I would say it
Wait,
would
but don't
net
you
negative.
think that most women would prefer the guy to be dominant? I feel like it's
No.
almost 85% plus of girls would prefer that. Have you polled a lot of people and asked, or
I mean, so being bisexual.
oh, that's the question I was going to ask you. Have you ever has dating women given you like more sympathy for guys that go and meet women and deal with the flaking and the blah these issues?
I think what's interesting about my position is that on one hand, like I can literally understand both halves of the story. So I can get like the guy having difficulty like kind of connecting with the girl, but also I am also the girl. So there's almost a little bit more
Yo,
there's
dude,
it,
stop
who is that?
bringing
Is that the
the
Sham
calls on
Wow
me.
guy?
Don't
That's
bring
like the
the
Sham
calls on
Wow
me.
guy right
All
there.
this is
He's
one
I'm sorry.
second.
That was my
telling
fault. I
us how.
apologize. I just thought that was hilarious.
I know there's clearly someone trolling the stream.
Yeah, clearly. I mean, it's probably me. I'm sorry.
No, it's not you. No.
No, but
It was so specific. It was like 2014 Julia.
I know, dude. They're doing the same thing. They've been doing the same exact shtick for like
Yeah.
the past
Okay,
half
guys, I'm
hour.
sorry. I totally ruined it.
You're
My
good.
bad.
Don't worry about it.
Continue. I'm sorry.
yeah, no, it's there's definitely like dating women is hard because a lot of women do want to see you as their friends first, and being that some of them don't necessarily realize I have interest in them, when I express that interest, they're like, "Oh, I didn't know that. Like, I thought we were just friends." I'm like, "I thought we've been dating for the past 3 weeks. That's confusing." Like, there was one particular unfortunate person I had thought, honestly, I thought we were dating because I was staying over at her house. We were like hanging out. We were like everything that a couple would do. And then she got a boyfriend. And I was like, were we not a thing? And she's like, what do you mean? And I was like, oh, okay, like we like slept together. Like, is that not normal for couples? So yeah, I guess she just thought we were like friends with benefits or something, and like didn't communicate that to me. So that was like awful. And yeah, so like that kind of sucked. And yeah, so dating girls is kind of hard, but then also sometimes when a guy approaches me, there's there's also that level of like, I don't, I've had some good interactions before, and I've had some bad ones. Like, I personally wouldn't like if somebody came up to me and said, "I'm gonna put a baby in you." I'd be like, "Nah, I'm all right. I'm on
Michaela,
birth
who's doing
control."
that? No one is doing that though.
No, I'm just saying,
Who
if
are these
Austin
guys that are
comes up and
walking
he
around
says
telling
that,
girls they're gonna put a baby in them?
look,
You're telling me if Austin came up to you and said that you wouldn't like that? Come on, stop.
Michaela,
Oh
you
my
couldn't
God.
resist. Let's be real. Let's be real. You're
Yeah.
saying this from this perspective of being in your room, but if you were having a good night out with your girls, partying, in a good vibe, and then I come in, I'm like, yo, I'm gonna put a baby inside you. You'd be like, what the fuck? That's hilarious. And I'd be like, Michaela,
No,
who
no,
are you?
I'd be like,
Where are we
haha.
getting married?
No,
What are we naming our first
I would
7 children?
literally, if I was chilling with my girls and you came up to me and you were like, "I'm gonna put baby in you," I'd be like, where's
See,
the
the sign of
bouncer?
intelligence, you're able to model the future.
What if he
accurately, and I
brings-
don't think you're doing that right now. You're not
Oh.
able to map.
All right,
What if he
able
brings the dildo?
Wait, let me.
What if I bring the
He's gotta try
22-inch
it
dildo?
first.
Would that?
If he shows me how well he can take it, we'll go from there. Because like,
All right, all right. What's your Instagram? I'll send you the vid.
Yeah, I'll send.
Well, I
we'll-
was
we'll-
actually-
We'll send you some links after the. There's
Michaela,
a-
remember you asked a while ago, what is alpha? That's what alpha is. How much you
Alpha
can take
is-
the 21-inch dildo. The more inches you can
Alright.
take, the more alpha you are. And
Yep.
yeah,
okay,
pretty sure
so
Austin
let
is
me-
the
let me
king.
re- let
I'll
me
put
re-
on the
I can take
strap.
it 23 inches.
There we
let me-
go.
Let me respond to the
Impressive,
initial criticism.
Why are so
uh,
many people
or
joining,
the
dude?
initial
Alex,
opinion.
what did
I
you
don't
do?
know.
You gave out your code to everyone? What's going on?
Just ignore them. How are they?
Yeah, he
bothering?
put it in the chat. That's like the biggest mistake you could ever make.
But we don't have to
Wow,
bring them
Alex.
on though. Like that's the thing. Like they-
I know.
Why are they
that's
just
weird.
here? That's so weird.
Because-
they could just be
because-
watching, but they're just creeping in the thing.
because
Well, that's everybody else. We
because
just
we
What
didn't know
either way.
level
that
of
people were gonna come,
mental
so we dropped the link because we want to get people on to have a conversation. Like there's some people were waiting, but unfortunately a lot.
Dude,
of them
once David Bond and I had like a Zoom call and we just sent it out to everyone. And what most guys do is they just sit on the call like this. Like they could like talk to you, but they're just like, I just want to be here and look. And it's fucking weird. I don't know.
All right, let me respond to the things she said.
Scary.
So okay, so
Do you have thoughts on things or?
You were talking about the toxic people. I will acknowledge there's definitely some toxic dudes who watch my videos, have a lot of pretty weird notions. But I would make the argument that the vast majority of the toxic people in my comments are actually girls who are hating on my content because they will say things like the dudes might say things like, "Oh, these women don't know what they're talking about," which is like mildly offensive. But the girls will say things like, "This guy's a rapist. This guy keeps bodies in his basement. This guy has a criminal record. This guy rapes a girl every single day. This guy fucking like statements of fact. They're just like so not true. This guy's girlfriend is actually being held hostage." That's like a running joke. Every time I have my girlfriend on my channel, it's like in the comments, it's like all these chicks are like, "Blink twice if you're being held hostage." They have this like, there's this idea on TikTok that I'm holding my girlfriend hostage, which is really interesting. But yeah, so
I would also say
I
TikTok is a
have-
really toxic app as
Yes.
well, just in general. I limit it to 5 minutes of being on there, which is just enough time to post. I couldn't even imagine going through comments on TikTok in general. Almost
I
every
I
video
can't
is
imagine
like-
actually
have
respecting
seen those
anybody
comments.
that takes TikTok seriously.
I
No
have
offense
seen those
to every single one
comments.
of you.
And I would
It's-
argue 95% of the
it's
toxicity on my channels from chicks who were just
Dude,
like really,
the people on TikTok, their brains are broken. If you're just like scrolling like this all day, you're literally breaking your dopamine in your brain. Like you're just like
Listen to this.
TikTok
I've had
is for dumb
girls-
people.
I've had girls track
is
down
for
my
dumb people.
girlfriend's Instagram, which is set on private, DM her and be like, "Yo, you're a piece of shit because you're with this guy Alex." Like,
Oh my god. No,
that-
that's not right. I have seen those comments. And a lot of times I see them unfortunately on videos to do with body language. I think the body language in the video can be kind of stiff. I know you guys are together and that helps obviously, but there is definitely like stiff language in those videos. So it to me and to some people who are very rude and they shouldn't comment like that. Jesus.
But Alex has Lyme disease and he can't move his neck. What is he supposed to do? Alex can't even eat pussy. Like, what is he supposed to do?
I'm glad I'm not okay. Side note,
He has Lyme disease. A tick bit him and gave him Lyme disease. What should he do?
Yeah, no, okay,
Be a
but
doctor.
well, I've done.
What
that.
was the
used like
side
a
note,
line to
Michaela? I'm
direct
curious what
the
you were
tick.
about to just say.
No, I mean, like, okay, no, I don't make that publicly available information, so I guess no one has a way of knowing that. But but like, there's a difference between someone saying I think his body language is dog shit and saying this guy's a confirmed rapist or serial killer. Like,
No, that's definitely no. That's not. They shouldn't be doing that. But I definitely can see that the body language would probably be a reason why people are kind of like turned off by the video necessarily because it just seems a little too stiff at times, or a little too like. Because you're together, of course you're going to be like in each other's.
Well, that's
business.
actually because my
the
neck is
thing.
fucked up. Like, look, I have a heat pack on, so my neck is fucked up, so I can't
Yeah.
move my neck. So that's why my body language is stiff. It
Yeah.
actually has nothing to do with the fact that it's my girlfriend.
Okay. Well,
Yo, Michaela, what are some signs you'll give a girl or a guy that you like them?
well, for me personally, like I'm usually if I'm not like into them, I won't touch them at all. I will do a little bit kind of more touching, flirting, but not try to get too much. Like I don't want to grab them. I'll just kind of be like, oh my gosh, and kind of the brush up against. If they return it, that kind of stuff, I'll get a little more. Typically the language or like eye contact stuff I use there would definitely be a little more intense.
Do you have any infield we could review on stream just to see if you're legit or not?
A what?
Like, what do you prefer, day game or night game? Like when you meet girls.
So what you're saying is you definitely use a lot of Kino in your interactions.
When she likes the
And
guy,
you use that as
or
an
the
IOI.
guy or the girl.
Yeah,
But, you don't want to be too needy or too.
No,
like, yeah.
no, I don't want to be
Aggressive.
too pushy. I don't want to be too. There was one night I got very tipsy, and a guy.
I'm listening.
Yeah, I had a drink that had a lime wedge in it, and the guy wanted to eat it, and instead of letting him eat it, I leaned over as he was picking it up, and I ate it out of his hand. So that's what I did, and then he was like, and then we went from there. But like that was kind of that was kind of my like I was comfortable enough with him basically like feeding it to me kind of thing, like versus him be like, hey, you want this? So that kind of thing.
Michaela, follow-up question.
Yeah.
From your experience talking to girls, do you feel like many girls or most girls are bisexual? Oh my God, thank you so much. Oh my God, yes.
I feel like nowadays people are much more open into bisexuality, but
don't you think that in my research and everything, human beings are just women in general are just super bisexual, right? It evolves. It's literally an evolved thing. And in hunter-gatherer tribes, they are more sexually open. So I think it was only a thing between like the agricultural age, 10,000 or 8,000 years ago to like the 1950s or whatever. And I think now it's coming. Alex, I was the one that you had to be worried about showing my meat on camera, bro.
All right, let's get back to the
This
debate.
is aged prime ribeye.
Let's just
Sorry,
go
Michaela.
Let's get
Sorry,
back
I'm
to
doing a terrible job of
But
moderating, but
what do you mean? Agricultural? Like what was the question?
There was the hunter-gatherer age about 5 million years ago to about 10,000 years ago with the agricultural revolution. Once you have the agricultural revolution, that's where men got this ownership thing where they're like, oh, I have 10 wives and blah blah blah. And women were looked at like property for a very long time. And now it's only yet again going back to hunter-gatherer stuff. So, for example, the animal-based diet. Like right now I'm having a butternut squash, which is a fruit. I'm having meat, having some butter. You're eating like fucking a hunter-gatherer. Also like fucking, people are more open, bisexual, more into like polygamy and this type of stuff. And like, what is it called? Polyamory and seeing multiple people.
Yeah.
It seems like we're coming again. We're circling back, to steal your phrase, to the hunter-gatherer age.
All right, wait. Let's not
Yeah.
talk about the fucking agricultural rage or whatever about history. Let's get back to the debate because we have a whole bunch of people we need to cycle through. So okay,
Yeah.
Kayla,
Dude, who cares about the debate? We're interviewing Michaela at this point.
Yeah.
Why don't we focus on the better content?
How is interviewing Michaela the better content though?
Wow,
Michaela-
Michaela, what do you think about
Well,
that?
how do you respond to
Michaela's
that?
a nice human being, but like I think most people want to see like the debate part rather than like an interview of Michaela's like personal life.
What
At
debate?
this
Who gives a
point,
fuck, dude? Let's make the content good.
what are the comments?
But how is asking
There's
her
a
about
lot
like
of
the
people
agricultural
comments.
age going to make
Because,
the,
dude, we're talking about that. I asked her about bisexuality. I kind of got off track there. So, would you say that in most of the girls that you meet, they're bisexual?
No. I actually think that there's a lot of people who have preferences one way or the other. And I will say, though, with your comment about agricultural age, historically, society's views of sexuality have been highly based around religion. The Greek religion, for example, one of the biggest examples being Greeks versus the Spartans. I mean, literally Spartan tribes. So Spartans would go out to war and they would learn war from a very young age, and women would be home and they basically were controlling a property, controlling a farm just to take care of everything. But it was encouraged in the men's war, while they were training, was to bond. Sometimes that bonding included sex.
Wait, let me ask the audience a question. I'm going to leave it up to the audience because I actually could care less either way. All right, audience, what do you guys want to see more? Just let us know in the chat.
Yeah.
One for debate
or
two
interview.
for Austen flirting. Which one do you guys want to see more?
I'm not flirting.
There we
Ask your
go.
question.
Two for Austen talking
Debate
about it
or setting our boy up.
So yeah, I'll let you guys decide in the
You
chat.
want to kick me? You
They're
want
saying
to?
one or two. They're also
Bucky
asking for your
Barnes is here.
OnlyFans.
Damn.
One is
Yeah, we didn't say one or two. You guys.
Wait,
we
is
didn't
one,
say one or two.
I kind of forgot which one. One I think is one is the debate. Two is Austen shooting his shot.
I see a lot of twos, bro.
I see a lot of like fucking threes. I don't even know what that.
I see a
what I'm
lot of
supposed to do with
twos,
three.
bro.
Listen, I just want to be Michaela's wingman. Okay, we're gonna pick up girls together.
Well, you guys don't live that far apart, so it's entirely doable.
Wait, where do you live?
Orlando area ish.
Oh, nice. I'm going there for a tournament next week or this weekend.
Austen is a frisbee champion. He's the best frisbee person in the world.
So you're good with your
number
wrist.
one ranking.
No one throws a fucking little sphere like he does.
Have you been to the Avatar exhibit at Animal? What is it called? The Disney Animal Kingdom.
I mean, like, I don't even know what to make of this chat because people are putting like a 69 in and 3 and like 13. Like, what am I supposed to do with that information? What the fuck? All right,
let's kick her. Let's kick her.
Okay.
No, let's not kick her. I mean, I want to
I
let
had a
her.
good run, guys.
I want to let
Banner from the stream.
I want to at least let her finish her points.
Yeah. My point. I pick up chicks better. No, I'm sorry. Oh. Oh no. I mean, like, no. I think that basically my thing is I think your content has a lot of folks that would. It attracts a lot of folks that are inherently toxic in both ends, and it can be kind of problematic. That's basically the summary of it. I'm not trying to make it like a personal attack or anything, though. Like, it's.
I'm glad we
I feel
finally
like
have
you-
someone on the outside telling Alex that he's problematic. Usually it's just me and Kevin and Avery pointing that out. So
for completely different reasons, though.
I think.
Your reason for me being problematic is that like I don't feed my dog an all raw diet. That's like your idea of why I'm problematic, or like I don't wake up early enough, or I don't meditate enough.
you eat vegetables instead of fruit, dude. What are you doing?
Yeah,
Those are the
that's
parts
like
of the planet
Austin's
doesn't want
idea
you
of
to eat.
problematic. Kevin's idea of me being problematic is like I don't study like old philosophers enough, and so yeah, like all you guys have a completely different notion for why I'm problematic.
Yo, put a 1 in the chat if we should kick Alex from the stream indefinitely.
We should.
1 in the chat if we should kick Alex
Kick him
indefinitely.
out.
You don't have
Doesn't study
the
enough
kind of-
philosophy.
you don't have the kind of administrative power.
We'll find it out.
We'll start doing it on my. I'll set it up on my streamer. Well,
we can talk once you hit them.
bro, look at all these ones.
There's the most ones I've seen that's kind of disheartening. All I do for this the community. This is the kind of thing.
Dude, even Avery put a 1 and he's not even
Oh
here.
my
bro.
god.
Wow.
Well, we are streaming to his channel.
Michaela, 1 or 2?
1. We're kicking.
Oh,
We're
see,
kicking
bro.
Alex. This is my
Alex.
channel now, guys.
Ain't no
Welcome to the mix.
All right, cool.
Oh,
Anyway,
all right.
so-
Welcome to my show.
All right,
Michaela,
Alex,
another thing that I wanted to ask you
Okay.
was, can you tell us your phone number? We'll just put it on the screen here. If anyone has any
Yeah,
questions afterward, they can just contact you.
It's 407-867-5309. Just hit me
All
up.
right. Whoever heard that in the chat, write that in.
Wait,
so
Michaela,
everyone
what
can-
is it again? Can you repeat that again?
407-867-5309.
That's literally the Orlando area code. She changed one
Either
number.
that's
in
your
that.
real number, or you have a.
The last number, just run all 9 permutations, and we'll roll 10.
867-5309.
That's a good song.
I think that's like your actual number.
Yo, I saw that guy at
Texas.
Disney.
You did.
Eddie Money.
Cool.
Is that Eddie Money? I don't know.
I don't know.
Whatever.
I just.
Michaela,
it's
did you
Tommy
have-
Two-Tone.
Did you have any other criticisms
Oh,
or
yeah.
anything else you want to bring up?
Yeah, I mean, I had alpha, beta, consent. One of the most recent videos I think I saw you post was about consent. The guy asked, "Hey, hon, can we do it tonight?" And then she said no, and she was kind of disinterested. And I said, an alpha version of, because it was like, "Hey, how's the project?" And then you're like hugging your girlfriend, and she's like, "Ah," and like there was no actual answer to like, "Hey, can we have sex tonight?" Like. There was no consent there.
Well, I think when you're in a relationship, this was within the context of a relationship. I think it's pretty cringe when you're in a relationship if you have to like look at your girl and be like, "Hey, can we have sex?" Like, I think you should, if you're in a relationship, you should be at a point where like you can pick up on each other's body language, where you don't need to like be like, "Hey, babe, can we have sex?" Like, I just think that shit is like super cringe.
Yeah, I think again explaining like the video, the way that it's presented seems like you shouldn't have to ask for consent. Instead of you should be able to read her body language. Because I agree, if you've been in a relationship long enough, you should be able to read your language and know, okay, she is pissed. She's not going to have, this isn't going to be fun, or this is going to be hurt. It's going to be painful. That's like the 2 ways it's going to go. It's either going to not be fun or it's going to be painful for me because she's going to let it all out.
I ask consent for everything: high fives, holding hands, kissing. Like,
I think like he had mentioned in the context of the relationship, if you know each other well enough, you shouldn't necessarily always have to say, "Hey, can we do this?" But if you're starting out a relationship, if you're just, this is kind of your first couple of times doing it, you need to establish those boundaries. Because
I don't think you need to be like, "Hey, can we have sex?" Like, I think like you can like I don't know, like whatever, I'm in like a relationship, I want to have sex, I'll literally just like go up to my girlfriend and just start kissing her, and if she's not into it, she will tell you, and like but like 99.9% of the time she's into it. So yeah, I mean, I don't know, like I think it's just
yo,
like,
Michaela, that time that you ate
to
that
me-
lime, when you ate that lime out of that guy's hand, did you ask for consent before you went ahead?
he took that out of my glass, so he thought I wasn't going to eat it. So that was kind of a time where we were again doing that kind of light touching and trying to get each other like that, but like straight up like making out with your girl, like that's when you're in a relationship and you do that, you should kind of already know the signs if she's already going to be into it. I'm not trying to at that
So I'm
point.
putting you down for didn't ask for consent when you ate that lime. Just 1 second.
Didn't ask for consent. Okay, you're gonna write it down. All right. I will say for that, I did not make. Yeah, you're right. I did not verbally consent to it. We were using our body language and doing that in the video
I was
that
actually,
he posted.
I sent that as an anonymous tip to the FBI.
Okay,
But anyway.
sounds good. I'll let them know. Yeah, and the in the video, it was very clear. The first guy when he's like, "Hey, can we do this?" Her body language clearly was like, "I'm not into that." This is like.
don't you think it's a little
Yeah.
cringe, Michaela, though, if you're in a relationship to like look at your girl and be like, "Hey, can we do it tonight?"
Like that, yeah, but I mean, if you look at your girl and you're like, "Hey babe, you know, you want to like, if you want to start engaging contact, see if she's doing that," and it's like, "Are you in the mood tonight? Like, if you want to, do you want to do it tonight?" Because for, you know, a girl also, you know, there's a little bit of different, if you're 2 girls, there's a little bit of different prep work, you know, you got to get for that.
Yeah,
So it's
I
like,
I
so, you know, it's like, are you up for that? Like, and then if she's kind of like, yeah, like, you know, kind of, it's not going to be like, "Yeah, let's do it." Like, it doesn't have to be like that, but it's you kind of setting the mood for what you're about to expect. Like, are you going to be expecting a crazy session? Are you going to be expecting kind of like a like a lazy session, like setting up your expectations before you even get to that far. Like that's kind
Wait,
of
you guys
what
get text back? I don't even get.
you don't
I
get
don't get
text.
that.
You don't
Yeah.
you just don't get text.
I mean, like, yeah, I don't know. Like, the point I was trying to make in that video was that I think it's like pretty cringe in a relationship to be like, hey, can we do it tonight? Like, I just think that's like such a beta way. And then what happened after that? The girl's like, no, I'm not in the mood. And he starts like logical. He's like, oh, well, you know, sex is important to me. Like, I can think of no better way to turn a girl off than try to logically explain to her why she should fuck me. Oh, well, I have a big penis and like I fuck you well. And like, remember, like I eat pussy really well. Like, that's just
Therefore,
no.
versus-
And that's
versus-
definitely that's not really the way to do it. But there's always you should always be making sure that whatever you do is cool, because some nights, like I said, like you could have a lazy night. Some nights it could be a crazy night, but understanding before you get to that point, like what are we gonna do? Are we gonna go all the
Michaela,
way
what
up?
does a crazy night entail?
But I don't think you have to
I
like
think you've had one with your 23. Is it 21 or 23 inches?
27.
Like
It's
27.
25 now. It just keeps
25 now?
increasing as
Just
time
keeps
Let me bring it
increasing.
in. We'll measure.
That
it.
would be a crazy night. Yeah, that would be a crazy night. Lazy night would be a little more just kind of like touchy, a little more more mouth.
But
work
I don't know.
than
Like
anything else.
maybe just me and my girlfriend are just really different. But like we don't like before we fuck, we don't sit there and have like logical discussions about like what our sex sessions is going to entail. What
No.
happens is like I'll put her on my lap, we start making out, and she'll be like, "Hey babe, I want to try this," or like, "Hey babe, like this part hurts. Can you not slap that so hard?" Like
But that's exactly
just
what I'm
seems like
saying. Is
such a-
she's communicating with you.
right.
Let's do this. Let's not do this. That is the
Alex,
communication.
you should never hit a woman under any circumstance.
But like what I'm saying is we're not sitting there on the couch having logical discussions like, so you think
No.
tonight I could spank your ass? I don't
No,
know, you know.
There's a way you can do that where you can like, hey babe, you know, you think you're due for a spanking because you weren't really that nice. Like you have ways to do it, but like she could always say no. Like she could always be like, no, don't do that.
I
And you'd
think
be
that
like,
kind of
okay.
takes the fun out of it. I think it's a little bit more fun to just spank her a little lightly at first.
But
See how she
but
reacts.
you're not building it up. You got to build it up. You got to tease her a little bit. Feel like
No, I
"Oh,
get
you
that.
haven't been very good, you know.
Well, actually, it depends if the spanking is a depends. There's two types of spankings. You can be like a fun sexual foreplay, or it can be like a punishment, right? So if it's like part of the sexual foreplay, you're right. But if it's just like she did something I don't like, I'll just be like, get over here. You're about to be punished.
You
When,
think I don't know that? Like, oh my god!
I don't know,
I'm
Michaela.
stupid.
I just met you like an hour ago.
I know. Well, if I'm watching your videos, I gotta have some knowledge, right? I mean, I would hope. I don't know what kind of guests you have on here before me. I would hope that maybe
I've
they
had
watch
all kinds on. I've seen it all. You never know what to expect with someone from TikTok.
Yeah, that's fair. I did for my.
Dude,
What
how
do you-
funny is this?
Oh god!
Under no
We
circumstance
can't
should
even
you ever
see.
hit a
You
woman.
have to like
Yeah.
zoom in or something.
Okay, under no
Can,
circumstance should you
can I
ever hit a
voice it
woman.
over? Can we voice it
He's
over?
making out with some
Let's do
chick.
the voices.
Do I have to be?
Okay,
the
Michaela,
girl?
you be.
Oh no, I'll be the boy.
Okay. Okay.
All right. Here
Wait,
we
why?
go.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah, I
Under
don't know.
no circumstance should you ever hit a woman. Spank me, Kenny.
Kenny.
No.
I'm proud of you,
I'm
son.
Wait. You have to go up to the top. We didn't even see what was at the top.
It said under
My
no
dad
circumstance.
just isn't proud of
because it was
me.
at the top. Oh, okay.
Oh,
Well, fair.
All right. So
I hate when that happens.
was there anything else you want to bring up, Michaela?
Thought I was the only one.
So the consent, Instagram versus phone number, getting a girl's phone number. Something that I kind of wanted to end the topic with because I think this would actually end on a light note. I think
Well, I
that's.
think it's been really liked so far. This has been definitely one.
Well,
of
I
the
think
most fun.
so. I did in college. So I do psychology, human sexuality, and human development. That's my degree areas. So I actually did several interesting courses. One of them was on consent. One of them was on BDSM. Like we had some pretty intense discussions, which it was a lot of fun. Let's just say.
How do you have a whole class about consent? It's like ask for consent.
And we wonder why China is beating us.
It wasn't a whole class. It was a unit about like understanding like the one best thing I liked was consent is like tea. If somebody if you offer them a cup of tea and they said yeah great and then they have that cup of tea as consensual. But if you offer them a cup of tea and they're like, no, you don't shove the tea down their throat. Like it's pretty basic. It's like if the person is sleeping and you can't give them a cup of tea because they're asleep, they're gonna choke on it. Like that's not good. If the person asks for a
Imagine
cup
being
of tea,
paid a full salary to teach people that professionally.
it was. Let me tell you, that was a very short unit because thankfully we all understood it. There was, unfortunately, one individual who thought that once you gave a person the tea, that gave you the right to give them tea anytime, like ever. And it was like, no, they don't always want tea. It's like they might want coffee the next day. There's no point in shoving tea down their throat all the time. Like this guy.
Well, if you're a high value man, the woman's going to comply no matter what.
Well, she would still need to accept the tea. That's the thing. Versus if you shove it down her throat, that's an issue. Like if you're
But
a high value man,
enough, it doesn't matter because a
will
woman's hypergamous nature. She's always going to monkey branch to the highest value man.
But that would mean that she's consenting. That's
I
the
think
thing.
during the course of my relationship, we've only ever had one instance when my girlfriend wasn't in the mood, and that changed like an hour later. So, like I think I don't know like what these relationships are that people are into where the girls are not having sex with them. Every relationship I've ever been into, I'm the one that usually is like, oh, I can't fuck again. This is like the third time today. My dick hurts. I don't know who are these like these relationships people are getting into where the girl
Probably the guy's like unattractive just in general.
I've never had that.
Your girl there, like you made her a cup of tea, and she's like, not right now. But then like an hour later, she's like, I'm going to have that tea now. Like it was. When she was in the mood, she still had it. You still had sex. You still had a good night, I hope. But like I'm thankful. That was just a part of my class. But we learned a lot about BDSM. We also learned about LGBT and history. We also learned about intersex, transsexual, and transgender, and other types of just gender. Like it was a really interesting course. Like it was like a whole wide spectrum of stuff we learned. And
what were your thoughts on that documentary, What is a Woman? Did you see that one?
I have not seen that one yet. I have not. When did that? I heard about it. Is it like Netflix?
I think it came out like 2 months ago. I think it got like 15 million views on the trailer, but I don't know how many people saw the documentary.
Okay, I have not seen that one. But the one I thought was okay. Yeah. Here we go. I have lots of paper notes.
She came prepared, bro. She's more prepared than us. Fuck.
Dude, I didn't have dinner. Like that's.
Oh wow! I appreciate your commitment.
Yeah, well, I got in the car accident and kind of skipped that part. But
that's right.
Instagram versus the phone number. A lot of people you would mention like girls offer their Instagram instead of a phone number, and I understand wanting the phone number for immediate contact, things like that. But let me tell you why Instagram can actually be helpful for both parties. All right. I got to tell you that there's some really good benefits you're missing out on by trying to skip the Instagram. So with the Instagram, it's not like avoiding a phone number. They want to talk to you. They have messages. But it lets you see what they're into too. It lets you know a little bit more than just their dating profile. They get to see what your interests are, what your life is. If are you good with your friends? You go out, you have parties, you go to concerts. They can see that. They can see if you like that stuff. If you're using social media, that's a good sign. Like you're not trying to like necessarily hide something. And then the DMs on Instagram too. So it shows up differently on your lock screen. So if you get a message for somebody, on your phone, it'll say the message right there. But if you put it on Instagram, it says DM from so and so. Like it doesn't necessarily say the message, so it can keep your conversations private when you're out in public and those things pop up. So there are advantages to using Instagram that aren't just chatting. You get to know, again, you get to see their photos. You get to see places they've been. You got to see if they have a lot of followers, maybe, who are they following? You get to see common interests here.
Yeah, I get all that. I think the solution, what I do is I get Instagram and a phone number. But I think if a girl does not want to give you her phone number, it means that she's either not that interested in you or she's not that serious about meeting up if she doesn't want to do both Instagram and a phone number. And that's just what I've noticed like the vast majority of the time. It just means she's not that interested in you, or she's like kind of a little bit lukewarm about you. Because if she is, then she'd be down to do the Instagram and the number. So for me, it's like I don't really want to spend my energy on like chicks who are not that interested in me. So I'll just be like, hey, listen, like
There's the
number.
part I completely disagree. There's our part we finally like completely disagree.
Interesting.
I use Instagram personally as like a screening method. So if I am interested enough in you where I am confident to be like, hey, send me a message on Instagram. I get to see what you do. I get a couple more pictures of what you look like. Sometimes on dating apps, there's like 3 or 4 pictures. And they're all obviously set up to present yourself in your best way. Sometimes on Instagram, you present yourself having the most fun. You present yourself, what kind of food you like, things like that. And then I can look and be like, oh man, he went to this restaurant I really like. Oh, cool. Like, I'm going to talk about that with him. Or, oh, he went to go see Metallica. Like, I'll be like, hell yeah. Like, what's your favorite?
I agree with
Metallica?
Michaela.
Like it's another level.
Michaela.
So what you're saying, Michaela, is Fresh and Fit's DMs on demand is actually worth buying.
Fresh and Fit.
No, okay.
DMs
Look, in
doesn't
all
know who
seriousness, I actually probably agree with Michaela a bit more than Alex here. I agree with you, Alex. If a girl doesn't want to give her your phone number, then
Dude, Alex is
doesn't
headed
like
out
you.
on
But-
this stream.
Well,
That's all.
let me- let me-
But
give
dude, when
my
it comes to
counterpoint.
Instagram, wait, Michaela, let me ask you this, right? Would you consider yourself a very like forward person or no?
I mean, I'm
Like, you
here, aren't
like
I?
very assertive. No,
Yeah.
I know. I'm not saying that as like an insult or anything, but
No,
I think
yeah.
girls in general, one of the best features that you can use on Instagram is girls don't know, they just don't know how to open a conversation with a guy they like. So what they do is they'll react to your story. It's gold. And then that way, I'm not saying you always want to wait for a girl to react to your story, but if she does, and that's her way of saying like, hey, I'm here. Would you agree with that, Michaela?
Yeah. And I think, and that's where it's like, if she's kind of, you're like, hey, let's trade Instagrams. Let's check out, each other's profiles, things like that. And if she sees something she likes, if she sees that, she's going to be way more comfortable giving you the phone number to engage in those conversations more. So I don't think the both have to go together all the time. I think the one can be a step to the other. So if you do it correctly, if you have a nice, like, it doesn't even have to have a lot of stuff, but just showing like, hey, here's me and my dog. Even I don't even know. Just
All right, let me give a
Well,
counterpoint.
that's why having a bomb Instagram is just, it's like a hack.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
David
what I'm
Bond
gonna-
would-
Having a really bad Instagram is worse than number for sure, though.
Yeah. But if you have a really good Instagram, bro, that takes it to. I
That-
mean, David Bond's a perfect
That's
example.
a big if. That's less than 5% of men. But okay, let me ask just a counter question. Who's your number one celebrity crush? Like, who you just like? Oh my fucking god! Is it Leonardo DiCaprio? Is it Brad Pitt? Is it
No.
Channing Tatum?
ugh.
Is it Lizzo?
Is it Henry Sonic?
No. Oh god. So right now it changes. So
Who's it right now?
in the female department, the
For a guy
I
in the male
for a
department.
guy in the male department. Okay.
Drake.
So Oscar Isaac.
Okay, I've heard of
Oscar
that.
Isaac.
Okay,
Moon Knight.
Oscar. Okay, hypothetical. Oscar Isaac comes up to you and he's like all smooth. He's like, Michaela, I saw you on that Playing with Fire stream. I like you, girl. I want to take you out.
Mhm.
He's like, let me get your number. Would you give him your phone number? Would you be like, oh, just take my Instagram?
If it's Oscar Isaac, I would just give him my money.
She'll take it
Like,
any way she can get it.
There
At
we
that
go.
point-
Case in point.
But that's the thing is, I feel like I've followed his Instagram. I've known this person, even though like I don't know them personally, right? But I've seen the content they produce. I know the movies they're in. I see their behind the scenes stuff. Like, he's a celebrity. He's got money. He's pretty. He's like, it's got, what he's got. If somebody comes up to you and you don't know what they've got, and you're gonna want to know more about them before you even touch.
Let me rephrase the hypothetical. A
Okay.
really, really good looking guy, your perfect 10. Just imagine your perfect 10 in terms of looks, right?
Perfect 10 butt.
Perfect 10 everything. Probably,
What?
yeah. Probably just like imagine myself.
Why is it always about the butt with
with
you?
more hair?
Because there's a meme on TikTok. Never mind. Just don't keep going.
But yeah, like the perfect, really good looking guy, right? Just everything's perfect. And he comes up to you and his game is just on point. Like, he's so charming. He's so charismatic. He makes you laugh. Everything is just like so ideal. You're literally fantasizing about this guy.
Mhm.
And he's like, hey, let me get your phone number. Would you be like, oh, just take my Instagram instead? Or would you be, at the very least, would you be like, okay, let me give you my phone number and my Instagram?
Instagram, because Ted Bundy.
but that's a common thing chicks say. It just never made sense to me because like you can be a serial killer and have an Instagram. Like I don't.
Yeah, but you won't have my phone number. So like you could be.
Would you realistically do this? Let me ask you this.
Like,
I think I could see you being like, all right, well, here's my phone number, and then he texts you later, and then you say, all right, what's your Instagram? Would you do that instead?
Yeah,
or would you just never give out your phone number?
This is a false dichotomy because Telegram is the chat of messenger apps. It is so good.
No, it is not, bro. You're 25 years old. You should be using something different, like Discord or something.
Which Austen is 25. I thought he was like 16.
Oh, that's right.
I'm 14.
Yeah.
What is,
okay, this is interesting because I've heard
the age of dildo consent in Florida is 14, so it's okay.
I've heard chicks say that, but like he can only serial kill you if like you guys meet up. So if you're going to meet up with him from Instagram, you're just as likely to die as if you meet up with him from a phone number. So it's like,
but phone numbers are a little easier to Google and than your Instagram, because if you go to Instagram, it's things you've done in the past, not where you currently work necessarily. Like
no, I think girls feel more comfortable with Instagram because they can see all your social connections as well. You can tap on like who's tagged in that, follow, and stories with friends. You can see who the guy is, and like you can tell a lot from someone's Instagram, and it makes girls feel more comfortable. And another thing too, this is why I like getting girls' Instagrams. I forget what they fucking look like. You get a girl's Instagram, and like 3 days later, you're like, "Who is this girl I'm supposed to fuck today?" And they're like, "Oh, this is what she looks like." And you're like, "Oh, okay."
It's like,
same thing for girls.
Are you Prince Charming with Cinderella? You got to get their Instagram because you don't remember what she looks like. It's like, if she fits this, she's the one I fuck. Like that's
exactly what it is.
Oh my god.
I don't know. For me, like I can just tell you from my personal experience, I've gotten a lot of girls' phone numbers and I've gotten a lot of girls' Instagrams. I've tried everything, and I think I even have a semi-decent Instagram. And like a very, very, very small percentage of the girls who I got Instagrams led to dates. With the phone numbers, it was a substantially higher percentage. So that's how I came to the conclusion that it's probably better to get the phone number. I understand the logic that girls have for wanting to do Instagram, but I think the solution is you can do both. You can do Instagram and a phone number. That's what I've been doing nowadays. Yeah. I'll just be like, yo, let me get your number. And they'll be like, oh, let me get your Instagram too. So I just do both now. Yeah.
Why don't you just lead with the Instagram? I'm curious about that because that's what I personally do. Because then you're sort of taking it. Because then it's just awkward if you're like, oh, you know, what's your number? I don't give my number out. Oh, well, what's your Instagram then? It's just
no. If the girl says I don't give my number out, I won't even bother. Because
then you just leave. Of course,
I just assume she's not that interested.
But the thing with you guys saying, "Let me get your Instagram," that also lets her know that you guys are kind of thinking similarly. She likes that, you know. If she, you know, because usually that's what they do, right? So if you initiate that. That's almost like it makes her feel better about what's the conversation you guys are about to have. Let me get your Instagram. Oh, yeah, okay. So you're into that too. You got the social media. We can message each other, send each other pictures. Like that's almost like a door opening right there. That is even more than like, let me get your phone number, because let me get your phone number right away. You know, it's like, okay, yeah, I mean, we had a good time, you know, but like, I still don't quite know you the same way. And then like, let me get your Instagram. It's like, oh, yeah, sure. Like you're guaranteed to get the Instagram. You're like,
all right, let's wrap this. Basically, the best is to get both. You get the direct contact with the phone number, and then you also can see their life on Instagram. And another pro of getting both is if the conversation gets like off track at some place, you can just retrack it on the other one. Or let's say you're messaging on a phone number and you forget to follow up. She'll often respond to your story. When you're doing cool shit on Instagram, it's really good. And this guy has a really good point too. Delete all IG models from your Instagram. You should not be like looking at girls or like using that for.
There goes my Instagram.
Maybe that's the problem, Alex. It's like it didn't work for you because it's like, who is this guy following? Mia Khalifa.
Because what that does is it trains your brain to when you see a cute girl on Instagram to just look at her and like ogle. As opposed to when you see a girl, you're like, oh, that's a girl I'm meeting up with this week. Here, let's see what she's doing. Oh, let's message her. Let's have actual human connection like a fucking person, you know?
No, there you go.
Michaela, what is a woman?
A woman, to me, a woman is somebody I like. I don't know. I'm bisexual. Like, what is that? What do you mean?
So if you like me, you'd be a woman. I'm a woman.
Do you think
what is a woman? Define what a woman is. We've been talking a lot about women and men this time, so why don't you define?
Okay. I mean, like, I guess I would say I'm a woman. I am someone who says that I'm she, her. I'm a, I like, I don't know.
So
It's
that,
like
that documentary
on
I
the
put, that's
spot.
like that literally is it's like that question, but like taken to extreme degrees. Like this guy, he flies to like a tribe in Africa and he's like, what is a woman? And it's kind of interesting because it's interesting how hard difficult that is to ask.
Yeah, I don't know why. Well, for people, it's a different question. XY chromosome, bam, problem solved.
XY is a boy.
Oh, XX chromosome, whatever.
I was
Damn,
gonna
Alex,
say
you
wow, you. Oh, way to kill your argument.
You're part of the
right
problem,
away.
Alex.
Yeah.
You're a chromosome cell.
I think with the what is a woman, right? So there's like people, for example, the XY chromosome thing. Have you done any research on intersex?
That's like a small exception to the rule. I think exceptions don't make the rule. For every rule, there's an exception, but
So they say exceptions
intersex-
don't disprove the rule.
Yeah, they
But
don't disprove the rule.
I would like to say though that, you know, with intersex, for example, levels of testosterone and estrogen, things like that, we have found do impact how people present themselves. So in the case of me, for example, I have a very low, relatively speaking, low estrogen, low testosterone. I've actually had to take supplements to get my growth spurt, but because of that, I don't really have much here in this department. So I I don't have anything, in fact.
Yeah, but I think if you still injected massive amounts of testosterone, you would still be a woman.
I think a lot of that though has to do with how I saw myself, right? So for a very long time I didn't really see myself as a woman, but I didn't really see myself as a man either, because I didn't really have any defining features one way or the other, right? So looking at myself in the mirror, I could be like, my hair's short, I got no boobs, I could be considered a twink. Like they look at me and they'd be like, oh, that guy, yeah, he's
Yeah, I mean,
definitely
this is a discussion of whether gender is a social construct or it's biology. You think more
Yeah.
of it's a social construct. I think it's more biology. But yeah,
I
I don't know.
think
I mean, I could think I'm a dog, but that wouldn't make me a dog.
No, and the two concepts, they exist separately. Like I have a vagina, I have female anatomy, I have XX
I believe you.
chromosomes. However, I consider myself a woman. So yeah, so if a guy, you know, if there's a guy, he's like, I have a dick, I'm a guy, he, him, XY, cool, good for you. But there's people out there who definitely feel like they don't fit in quite the right way. And like I said, I didn't feel that for a long time. Like I didn't really fit in one or the other, and so I've been taking supplements to really help me kind of feel more like
How
myself.
much of that did you talk about in your studies was the result of phthalates making people less biologically show their sex?
What?
Have you researched that, like the
Hell are
phthalate thing?
phthalates?
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
So there's this lady, she researched this for like 40 years. Basically, it's like phthalates are in plastics, and what they do is you know what the anal genital distance is? Like the distance between the anus and the genitals. Basically, that is shortened in men, and it's become more similar to what women have. So it's kind of interesting that like plastics, the rise of plastics, the use of it has just skyrocketed, and then this is also skyrocketing. Whereas trans wasn't really a thing back in hunter-gatherer times. Hunter-gatherer times, they're of course bisexual. There's all the different sexualities. And in terms of gender, there wasn't anything like that.
Yeah,
this is pre-agriculture, so it's not like you have the monotheist God that says everything's bad. What do you say?
Do a shot every time.
Everything comes back to agriculture and plastic.
This guy says Austen is war on plastics. Yeah, I have a really good video.
Okay, really quickly, Mikhail, I want to ask you, when it comes to somebody identifying as a woman or a man, how much of that is contingent on their appearance and how they present themselves? So for example, right, if Austen said, well, you know, I identify as a woman, I'm a woman, but he didn't change any characteristics of his, he just kept being the same way that he is, would that be legitimate because that's his subjective feeling, or is there some sort of, does he have to have some sort of behavior change for that to be legitimate?
Well, I think if he, in this case, I'll change the pronoun here. If she said she was a woman, sure, I would say, yeah, go ahead, be yourself. And I think really it's just about mutual respect. Because as long
if I said I was like a wolf, would you call me a wolf?
so, here's the thing: comparing a human to a wolf is not the same. They're not the same species. Male and female.
Michaela, I'm
sex,
sorry, but you're
they're
gonna make
the same
Alex start howling,
species.
and
Yeah.
get pulled over
So,
at that point.
when we're
But
talking about-
don't you think
that
though,
would
Michaela,
be-
that kind of goes
It is a
counter
slippery
to-
slope. It's called the
It's-
there's this like old parable in like the Middle East. It's called it's like the camel parable. It's like the camel's like, "Can I put my nose in the tent?" And they're like, "Okay." And he's like, "Can I put my face in the tent?" And he's like, "Well, okay." And then it's like, "Can I put my neck in the tent?" And then it's like eventually like the whole camel's in the tent. It's like, holy fuck. So it's only 1 degree separation saying like call him a wolf versus call him like
Well, it's more so. I think maybe it would like, okay, so if you have to comply to that sort of ethic of saying, oh, well, you have to, call somebody exactly as they identify, then that person might be against your movement, but be trolling you at the same time, right? So some random person can just be like, well, you have to, I identify as a woman, so you have to start calling me she, her. Then you have to start complying to that. That's why I'm asking you,
what if someone identifies?
You know what I mean?
Hold on. Hold on.
Let her respond to Kevin.
I think that to put the effort in to have people acknowledge you to be a certain way, if you're really trying to troll it, that's going to be a lot of effort, because there are still a lot of people out there who don't want to respect you just because you just because. Like I've got a couple of non-binary friends. I've got lesbian friends, and obviously, and I've got a lot of guys friends, straight friends, and I've got a lot of trans friends. And the thing is, a lot of times you would not know that they have different genitals than would typically you think. So that's the thing. It shouldn't really be like a discussion, because you would have no idea if it's one way or the other. Because if, my friend who is a trans man, meaning he looks like a man, he looks like you, Kevin. He's got the full beard, everything, and
he's the comment's gonna roast me now, saying that I look like a transsexual man.
No.
Thanks,
no.
Michaela. Now the whole chat's gonna make fun of me.
All right. Well, it's not something to be ashamed of, because he's a pretty handsome-looking dude. So I'm just gonna
so you're
say,
saying I'm a handsome trans man, then? Is that what you're saying?
You're a handsome man. There you go.
Oh wow, thanks.
He is a man. He is a man, and the thing is, he has a vagina. That's the big difference.
Oh,
He's a man.
So you're saying I'm a handsome man with a vagina now?
You're not. I'm just saying Kevin's a handsome man.
Let me pose one more hypothetical on this topic. Okay, hypothetically speaking, what if me personally, I was to put on a wig, right? But it's like super obvious I'm a dude, and I'm like, hey, I want to go into like the female locker room and change there, and your daughter's in there, or like your sister's in there. Would you be cool with it, or what would you think about
that? Are you gonna go in there and get changed?
Yeah, like let's say I just want to go in there and like, well, you don't know what my intentions are, right? I'm just saying like, hey, I'm going in, like you're working at the store and you're the one that's deciding, right? Okay. And I'm like, hey, I'm just going in there to get changed. I identify as a woman. You're like, dude, like you're a guy. Would you let me in there?
My thing is, I don't care. You can go in and get changed. If you are a woman and you walk into a woman's bathroom and you start spying on people in the stalls, I'm gonna kick you out. Like, it doesn't matter if you are spying on people doing private things. That's an issue. If you're just going in there, getting changed, doing your thing, going to the bathroom, and minding your own business, I don't give two shits. It's like, that's the thing. It's like, mind your own business, and we can all live together. So if you want to go to the girls' bathroom, fine. Go take a piss in the girls' bathroom. Learn how to sit down and pee. Like, it's like, it doesn't matter. It's just, as long as you mind your own business.
Yeah, I don't know. If like my daughter was in there or something like that, or my sister, I would feel like, I don't know if I would want that, like some dude to go up in there.
But is he going up to them and like peeing with them?
Or I guess like the thing is, you don't know ahead of time, right? It could be.
Well, you don't know what I'm going in there for either, but like you would be fine with me going in there.
Well, I think the chance of you like having your way with my daughter is a lot smaller than like someone who has a penis.
You think I can't hold my own? You think I'm not a strong individual with like what?
Nah, I think my daughter would be pretty good hands with you, but
okay. But the point being, judging, that's kind of leading to the judging a book by its cover kind of thing, right? If people mind their own business, go piss in the bathroom and then don't piss on each other, that's all I want to know. Like, it just, as long as you're not going to pee on me, I'm good. I don't care where you go. Hello, Austen. You look very different now.
Yeah.
What
So
the- well, I just noticed that too. Oh my god.
yeah, what's up, guys?
Hi,
I'm
Austin.
back. Yeah, haircut. Yeah, I just wanted to jump in here and let you guys know, like, the anthropological record shows that transgenderism is a real phenomenon, but the idea that gender is socially constructed is a very new phenomenon. Even in tribal cultures where there is some form of transgenderism or sort of gender mixture, there's a very clear definition of what male and female is, and almost all of it is biologically rooted. The
Have
idea
you ever
that
heard of
gender is somehow
Akhenaten?
separated from biology is really a creation of what is ultimately cultural Marxism, or a
Do you
kind of
know-
gender/race Marxism.
Have you
that's
ever
only
heard of
occurred in like the
Akhenaten?
last 50 years.
50
So-
years. In 1353 to 1336, Pharaoh Akhenaten was in charge of the entire Egyptian culture and was presented as both male and female Egyptian kind of goddess, worshiping only the sun god. He was actually unsure if he was fully male, fully female, or intersex because he was basically killed by all of the people because they liked the polytheistic religion more than the monotheistic religion. So they killed the pharaoh and made the next pharaoh do their thing. But that was as of 1353, and that's BC. That's his early record that we have of this idea of transgenderism.
Yeah. So that's what I was saying, is that there is a record of transgenderism and sort of gender mixture happening. What the claim that I'm making is that the idea that gender is a separate phenomenon from biology is a very new phenomenon.
But that's
and this
what
idea
I'm saying is that
I, as a man or
Akhenaten-
woman, can simply define what a man or woman is based on my own experience of what a man or woman is. That is completely new. There is no history of that anywhere. And there's also a huge element of social contagion to this. Like, the most recent figure that I saw was, and you can debate how accurate this is based on different like social pressures, but something like 1 in 70,000 and 1 in 140,000 people suffer from true, what you might call transgenderism of various kinds, right? But we're now seeing it in like 1 in 100 or 1 in 500 children. There absolutely is a social contagion phenomenon happening. I think I've said this before. I jumped in here like a week ago. I think that American liberal politics has deconstructed any positive identity for conventional traditional values and has pretty much set up a system where the only way where people, especially young people, can find positive identity in the world is to subscribe to this complete identity deconstruction philosophy that says that everything is socially constructed, traditional values are pathological. You can't be a man and manifest your ambition in the world without making everything toxic. All of this philosophy, I think, is just encouraging people.
What is your traditional value equal? Is it a Christian
So
traditional value?
values being like the traditional archetypal qualities of masculine and feminine.
Where does that stem from, though? What tradition does that
Like
stem
every religion, every
Doesn't,
philosophy.
though.
Yeah,
Not
You're like Taoism. You're like yin yang. That doesn't ring a bell. That's
Does
like
Spartan ring a bell? They were
Huh?
the Spartans, Greeks. Literally, the chat's even talking about it too. How I was like, oh, how is Greeks and Romans and everything? I literally like, if it's traditional, it has to stem from a tradition. If you can't name one, but I have also counterexamples, it's hard to say that there's a traditional value when there's no source tradition. Like, if you want to believe that, you know, your Christian God wants a man and a woman to be together, sure, go ahead. But my tradition, I could say, is from something else. Traditionally, my ancestors are Irish. I don't know, like that's there's an origin for me. I don't know, but like, if your tradition is, where is it coming from?
So yeah, maybe a more specific definition would be that what I think of in my head when I'm using that language is that psychological research has shown that some of the most definitive personality differences exist along the spectrum of gender difference. So male and female exhibit, on average, right, very predictable differences in personality. And that manifests as what we call some traditional, perhaps, personality traits, or might say like gender roles or things like that, or things that one gender tends to be better at than the other. And there is a very, very strong corpus of psychological research to support that.
Okay, what psychological aspects are related to masculine and feminine?
Well, for one, men are on average significantly more trait disagreeableness than women, right? And we all understand that, right? Why are most people in prison men? It's because most people who are very violent are men. That's not to say like women are equally as aggressive if you're looking at pure aggression, but women tend to channel their aggression into reputation destruction
So are you
rather than physical violence, which is what we put people in prison for. So
are you making violence a masculine or male trait?
I think
No,
he's just saying it's much
disagreeableness.
more traditionally associated with men. Like 99% of people in prison are men, and there's probably a biological reason for that. I think that's his argument.
So, okay, so I'm trying to understand what traits make people men as they're developing. So you, right off the bat, you went with violence, and that's kind of scary. Like,
no, I said disagreeableness and then used
right, but
violence
then
as
you
an
went
example of
into
disagreeableness.
prison systems like that.
Mhm.
Inherently, I would associate in my head, I associate prison with typically violence, and so to get, hey, where's this coming from, and then you say disagreeableness, prison. Whoa, like that was a big jump. So what would make
Well, no,
men,
using extremes is often a really good way to make a point. So I was trying to show
but I
that
didn't.
trait disagreeableness is so
Okay.
profound that when you go to the extremes, these are the differences that we see between men and women.
I think
Also,
the
I mean, you
point
go to
he's
the other
trying
side
to
of the
make is
spectrum.
that- Go ahead.
So what
The
would
other side of the spectrum, you have that the almost everybody who seeks assertiveness training in therapy are women. That is because they are significantly more agreeable on average than men. You do find very disagreeable women, and you do find very disagreeable men, agreeable men. But when you put them together and you take the population as a whole, you find that there is a very definitive difference between the two.
Okay. Would you say that the assertiveness and the willingness to comply inherently comes from women having fear of men, or would that be in a nature thing? Would that be
Well, in
related
part,
to
right? Like between men, like men know how to interact with each other because there's always a threat of escalation of physical violence, right? Women are also aware of the reality that men can be violent. And if we ignore the fact that that's a reality that shaped our evolution, I think we're being delusional, right? So is there a fear component? I mean, maybe, right? But it makes sense just biologically speaking that the larger, more physically strong gender would be the one that is more inclined towards disagreeableness and hence escalation towards physical altercation and violence.
So what part of their development cycle makes them physically stronger? What inherent
Testosterone. Yeah.
Testosterone.
So
Okay.
the
So up
two
until-
chromosomes, testosterone.
Right. So up until
testicles.
up until puberty, children have about the same levels of estrogen and testosterone.
Yeah.
So once
sure.
puberty hits, would you argue that stage would be where more of these defining traits come in?
In some ways, yeah, but you can bring it all the way down to childhood. If you present infants with a selection of toys, you will find that overwhelmingly female infants will choose toys that look like people, and the boys will choose toys that are more object oriented, like the trucks, the airplanes, and stuff like that.
There's more to it.
Unless you argue that the social influence of patriarchy has infiltrated the minds of infants. That one's pretty hard to get around.
Do you have the videos for that? Because I did the one with the child development where in infancy we talked about the invisible cliff. So it was things like that, understanding concepts, colors, shapes, things like that. What age range are you considering the understanding of like shape and stuff? Because the cliff experiment is basically like a table with a clear glass top, and there's part of the table is like colored in, and then the baby crawls. Will the baby stop or will it keep going? So at what age does it stop and think I'm gonna fall? So what age does this come in? Like, is it like 2 when she starts thinking, oh, people, and like when he starts thinking, oh, cars? Like, what age range? Because infancy is very different from toddler development.
Yeah, no, you make a good point. And to be completely honest, I don't remember the exact age off the top of my head, but my memory says it was somewhere between the 9 months and 1.5 years.
Okay,
I'd have to look it
Well,
up.
I would pose the question like this, Michaela. Do
Yeah.
you think there's anything inherently biological that makes men more likely to engage in violence than women, or you think there's an equal likeliness that men and women will engage in violence?
I would say, based on human sexuality psychology, and human development. Up until puberty, they're about the same. However, when the puberty hits, I will say people with naturally higher testosterone are more inclined to those types of I would say disorders, if we were calling it into a violent end. And that can also mean, in like I said, unfortunately, in my case, I did have issues with temper and lashing out, things like that. As somebody who had issues during puberty, I didn't develop the same way. I didn't really react the same way as my female peers when certain things happened. Now that I have taken supplements and kind of balanced my own system out, I have noticed I have become less irritable. I am much more able to hold a conversation and
there's a
not
lot of
freak out.
value in getting your hormones
Yeah.
in play. But yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
like, okay, so you would agree that at least after puberty, there's some inherent difference between men and
There
women.
is, yes.
Okay.
But I do think that every body can also, like I said, like my own, can have their inherent differences.
For
I'm
every
not like
rule-
other
for-
girls.
for
Yeah,
every
I
rule,
wish
there's
I
an
was like other girls. I can't even say your name.
Yeah,
dude.
for every rule, there's an exception. But yeah,
Yeah,
Why not?
like-
You're unique and amazing the way that you are, Michaela.
Well, the comments, they, you know what? I'm not
I had to
trying
take
be special.
Austin's place as the resident
I
simp.
wish I wish I had tits. You know what? It would be nice to actually have them because I would fit into clothes a little better. But I don't. It's unfortunate. Sorry. I just.
you're good. You know what I'm thinking?
Michaela, I have to give you credit. You're basically like we're half like just joking around, but half like seriously debating, and you're taking like a champ. So good on you.
You know,
Yeah. Michaela's MVP. All right, you know what? I have an idea. Let's do this because we let's just bring everyone on who's waiting backstage, and we can keep Michaela on. And because I want to
see how quick you get banned from all those dick.
10 people versus Michaela.
Only the
Let's
people
go.
who are showing their face. I want to I want to wrap up the stream before 3 hours, but all these people have been waiting, and I don't want that to be for nothing. So let's just all bring them on. We'll go for another 15 minutes. It'll just be like a fucking lightning round, and then we'll call it. There goes my dream of a 2-hour stream.
Okay.
I was talking about. All right, let's just bring on.
All right,
I love the
let's see.
fake A.G. Hayden that came up.
Bam.
That got me.
Bam.
Dude, there was playing with water.
There
There was playing with water.
Oh my
with
god,
water?
there's so many people.
Before it gets too intense, check out this mug. It's with the rock on it. Showing up is half the battle. The other 25% is not shitting yourself.
We're gonna put Michaela in the middle because.
Wow.
Oh, I didn't know you
you're
could
a
do
girl.
I don't. Ooh,
Michaela,
that's-
do you consent to this or not?
Ah.
Girls like attention. So
As long as you keep those flies up, I'm good. I'm good. So.
Don't worry,
Oh
no
my
dicks
God.
will be shown on the stream.
Thank you.
All
Appreciate
right, let's
Don't
go.
worry, my 22-inch dildo isn't in any zippers.
It's too big. Let's go
Do you
for.
consent to this, Michaela, or am I violating your?
Dude, I wanted to do
I
a funny picture with the
consent to
dildo
a-
coming out between my zippers, but it literally was too big for me to even close my button on my pants. So like, I can't even do a funny photo.
All right, let's stop fucking with the order, please. This is giving me a headache. Well, all right, let's just give everyone a chance to speak, and then let's just kind of do like a lightning round. All right, let's just go. Oh my god,
Bro.
Did
That's
you
an
know
even
that
more
at night?
advanced dildo.
Every stream
that's
is
not
different.
even the dildo we're talking about. Apparently, you have Austin has multiple.
Michael
how
went a
many
little
dildos do
easier.
you have?
That was more like a teddy bear dildo.
Yeah, that was a body pillow actually.
All right, let's go in order. Let's
it's
just go
pretty
in
cute, not gonna
chronological
lie.
order. Let's start with Zach. Go ahead.
Yo, what's up? Can you hear me?
Yeah. Thank you for waiting.
Yeah, I would just say that I know there's a lot of weirdos that like reply to Alex's TikToks and stuff, but there is a bunch of guys like me that are just need a couple quick tips to get a girl home or to not be weird, and that actually helps. And we just don't comment. We don't say a lot of shit. So for me, a lot of times I just need some quick tips on figuring out how to resolve some issues with some girl, and I just take the tips and go. But that doesn't mean that Alex's stuff is only meant for extreme weirdos or 35-year-old virgins and stuff like that. So I just give props to that, and I appreciate Kevin's stuff as well for kind of exposing the stupidness of the red pill and stuff like that. So yeah, that's all I got.
So you've found their tips pretty successful.
Yeah, I mean simple stuff like get a nicer apartment, have a bunch of booze back at your place, don't get too drunk, don't be too grabby, stuff like that. It just helps, right? Have a
Yo,
nice
Zach,
place to
what do you do
go
for your
relax.
delts? Because goddamn, dude.
bro. Rear delts every day. Rear delts every day.
Damn.
Do it.
Wow.
But yeah, I don't know, like take a girl on like an easy first date, like go to the park or whatever, throw a football around, and then just have a nice place to bring a girl back to. Like, if I take those tips, I implement them. You kind of never see me reply to those TikToks and shit, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, there's a bunch of guys that would just benefit from that, and they're kind of like invisible, right? So there's like, it's kind of hard to explain, but there are a bunch of weirdos that reply, but they aren't the majority of the people that view this content.
No, that's true.
And I'm glad to hear that, honestly. Like, I really wish that there was more mixed reactions on those, because like we said on TikTok, there's so much extremes with these folks. It's like one way or the other. Like I'm glad to hear that, it's.
Well, I think TikTok is like literally the shittiest platform ever. I think TikTok is close to dog shit.
Why do you post on there, bro? At the very least, I think that
TikTok is more toxic than Twitter.
Really easy to go viral.
I'm literally contributing to the Chinese takeover.
No, I don't give a fuck
of juvenile minds if I go on there.
Simply because it's easier to go viral on there, and my goal is to get everyone from TikTok to my YouTube.
Yeah, man, I would think Alex from like a marketing side, like you're getting an audience and everything, but like at the same time, I know you're a double-edged sword because you're attracting a bunch of weirdos on there, and the weirdos make you look bad, and it's kind of like.
Well, no, they only help me. Like every time one of these like, big SPW TikTokers makes a video about me, I get more views. So I love it.
Okay,
I love it when they do that.
Yeah,
fair point. I didn't say I was a great marketer. I just
I like your stuff too, Kevin, because I like your videos. Like your long videos are kind of boring at first, but then make it interesting. So give you respect for that.
That's good.
All right, let's go.
I'm glad that they get interesting over time, but that's usually not a good sign for new subscribers coming in if their first reaction is this boring. Fuck.
All right,
I'm trying to make it more digestible, unless
Let's go to the next person because we gotta get through everyone. Okay, Chris.
Thank you, Zach.
What's up? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, Chris.
Okay. Yeah, first of all, I want to say, Kevin, your philosophy content is pretty dope and some of the best content on YouTube. So your stuff on Nietzsche, Dostoevsky, etc. Pretty dope. Anyway.
Chris, can you speak in some German?
Huh?
Can you say something in German?
Hallo, wie geht's? Alles gut?
Was geht ab?
Was geht ab?
All right, come on, let's keep this on point because we gotta get.
Okay. Yeah, no, I wanted to talk about something else. Don't really know what we're on about right now. So, yeah, I guess I don't have anything to say on that topic.
Ashvik.
Okay. Well, what did you want to discuss?
Yeah, just the point of self-improvement. I think a lot of the content on there is kind of pointless. For example, a lot of it doesn't really have a goal. I can see the value in, for example, dating advice. Let's say you have the goal of getting a girlfriend. You can improve yourself, work on your charisma, on your looks, whatever. And as soon as you reach that goal, you kind of, I mean, you have reached that goal. You don't have to go on with that anymore. But for example, a lot of the advice on in the red pill and stuff in general is like taking cold showers, for example, and I don't see any point in that. Why take cold showers any day? You don't really have a goal with that, unless, for example, one of the benefits is improving your willpower. But why necessarily and do something you hate to do just to improve your willpower if you could spend the time doing something else?
Wait, who's this directed
I think it's kind of directed at me. So it really just depends on why you do self-improvement in the first place. So I try to meet guys with where they're at. Unfortunately, it's just the way it is. A lot of guys, they'll start getting into self-improvement type stuff for girls, right? So perfect example, that's going to the gym. But ideally, you want to get to the point where you're doing it for other reasons, just other than that, right? So maybe you have your own business or whatever. You want to be like the best person for that because you're in a leadership position, for example, So yeah, I mean, I totally agree with your sentiment. I mean, I made a stream the other day about Tyler Durden's famous line, self-improvement is masturbation. For the vast majority of people, it is masturbation, and they're not actually confronting the real problem, right? Because if you're doing actual self-improvement, you're actually doing shit that's scary. That's why I did like my whole 30-day challenge course, which, I launched a few days ago. That's the whole point. It's like I'm getting you to do shit that scares you, and I'm like holding you accountable to that. And a lot of guys, they can't handle it because it's not as fun anymore. Self-improvement, if you're doing it correctly, should not necessarily be this like super fun experience, because a lot of guys, what they'll end up doing is they'll focus on self-improvement to the things that they're already pretty good at. They won't try to improve on the things they really suck at, because usually the things they really suck at, it requires them to go over this fear barrier or to really look deep into their insecurities, which is like really painful, right? So that's why I like all the self-improvement stuff that I do. I take it from like from a Jungian standpoint, diving into the shadow work, that type of shit.
I 100% agree. Like when I go for jogs, I have a guy with a gun chase me, so I'm always gonna perpetuate
that'll motivate the shit out of you, man.
May I actually? Can I add to that? Is that okay?
Yeah.
No.
Go
Okay.
ahead.
No.
Okay. All right. I'm going to do it anyway. So something I think with self-improvement in general, I definitely agree with challenging yourself, but also the self-care aspect of that. After you've challenged yourself and after you've hurt yourself, definitely take care of yourself after. A cold shower might not be the way to do it necessarily. It doesn't have to be boiling hot, but it doesn't have to be ice cold. Just, relax the muscles after you run with a guy chasing you, with a gun. Like, you don't want to tire yourself out too early. Like, to keep yourself motivated, you need to complete those tasks, but also appropriately reward yourself. So in the case of the cold shower is, maybe cold shower before you go out, get yourself woke up, everything, get out there, run away from the guy with the gun. And then once you're done and you're sweating, get like a warm shower, get those muscles relaxed, reward yourself for doing that work. So
Yeah.
Going to the shower part of it, I guess.
No, that's good advice. You want to have a little bit of both. And what I try to encourage guys to do is you have like a challenge phase where a certain period of time you're really trying to push your limits. And then you have these growth phases where, similar to if you're building muscle in the gym, you have certain periods of time where you're trying to build a lot of muscle, and then you actually have to taper off a bit to allow your muscles to adapt and grow. It's a similar thing when it comes to your psychology as well. And a lot of psychological research backs it up. In terms of books that I'd recommend, I recommend, if you guys want to know my whole philosophy on this, I guess, Willpower Doesn't Work by Benjamin Hardy, Switch by Chip and Dan Heath. Yeah, those are the two main ones. There's a bunch of other ones too, but if you really dive into the psychological literature and things like automaticity, for example, self-improvement is a science, and people who don't treat it as a science, it's unfortunate. A lot of people do it that way, and it ends up becoming a masturbatory exercise that leads nowhere. So, Chris, I agree with your overall sentiment. The vast majority of people who talk about self-improvement, they're actually not doing the things that are required to improve.
All right, Stefan, what do you got to say?
Can you hear me?
Wait, Stefan's gonna be the
Barely.
longest one, so let's let him go last. Let's do Zimzilla.
Well, I'm only doing one topic. I don't know if it's
go
going
ahead.
to go on too long.
Chris's actual.
We can still barely hear you, man. Come close to the mic or turn your volume up or something.
Wait, can you hear me any better?
Yeah, that's better. Yep.
Okay, yeah, I'll just do rapid fire real quick, but just so I won't forget any of my notes. But
Are you on an Android right now?
No, it's even worse.
We're 3 hours in. Can we not derail, please? Can we just keep it on track?
Yeah, it's I'm
only an hour and a half in, Alex.
I disagree
I know.
with.
Well, I'm 3 hours in. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, I disagreed with Kevin, but I agreed with Alex. I think it was, even though you guys kind of left that topic. I don't really think when Kevin was talking about going on 7 dates because the girl was high value or something like that. The comment specifically I disagree with is when he said you game high value girls differently than 304s, which I guess it's a preference because technically you can game however you want. But in my experience, there's really not that much of a difference between quote unquote good girls and bad girls. And I have a lot of, like, I've dated virgins, quote unquote high value girls who are probably like Mensa level intelligence. Literally, my first girlfriend in college was the youngest girl in the entire university of over 20K kids, valedictorian, bio major, everything. I've dated another virgin, not exclusively, but talked to her, same school. She's like owns her own dentist practice now. She's religious. She's holding it out for marriage. So I have experience with girls across the spectrum, but the reason why I don't approach girls differently is because when I first meet them, my impression of them being high value or not, just based on their looks and what I could gather in a few moments from their circle or whoever they're with, that's not enough for me to confirm whether she's girlfriend material or quote unquote high value. So I approach them the same as if I would approach a girl who I assumed was quote unquote promiscuous.
Okay.
Because in my
I totally
experience,
I agree with you, man.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say in my experience, I'm gonna find out if she's quote unquote high value within the nuances of her behavior, whether I smash on the first night or the second or third. Now, as a rule of thumb, if it gets to the second or third like link up, and I haven't escalated at all, I would just assume she's not attracted and move
Stefan,
on.
I thought you said this was
Yeah,
going to be
okay.
quick, but you're going
Oh, yeah,
So hold on.
No.
Let me interject because I understand the sentiment of what you're saying. So for me, I do the same exact thing. I don't like just meet some girl and think, oh, I'm going to treat her differently than the other girls. No, I think your job as a man is to try to push things forward. So I'm still going to be, you know, very aggressive in a way. I mean, that's kind of my style. And some girls will comply with that. And then it's like, hey, that's fucking awesome, right? Others won't, but I'll still see them in subsequent dates, right? And for me, that's kind of my way of almost testing to see if she's like, you know, girlfriend material. Because again, if she's just like hoeing around and that's it, that's fine. I'm cool with that too. But in my mind, I'm automatically going to put her in that other category, right? As opposed to if I'm still trying for that and then she kind of pushes it away. Sometimes I'm just not interested in her, but if I'm not interested, I'm not going to be talking to her in the first place. You know, it's kind of like a way for me to kind of, you have to hit these certain benchmarks for me to be in like a very serious relationship with you. And one of them is not sleeping with me too fast. Again, I don't necessarily think that the girls do that. That's too fast. I don't think that they're low quality women by any means. But for me personally, with my own values, that automatically disqualifies them as being, you know, girlfriend material.
Oh, okay, yeah, I get that.
Would
It's my last
Alex?
point.
Sorry, I was gonna say, would Alex be like a low quality girl then if he's trying to sleep on the first date?
Well, I'm not trying to fuck Kevin, for the record.
Well, I just as an example.
No judgment if you are.
That sure, Alex. I know what you've been saying to me behind the scenes.
Me and Kevin are the exact opposites when it comes to that. I personally, I wouldn't. If a girl wants to wait more than 2 dates for sex, I'm like, next. So for me, I prefer the girl to fuck me on the first or second night.
And look, usually I'm the same exact way too. It just depends on who she is and if we connect on some emotional level. I know that's like the most beta thing ever to say within the manosphere or whatever, but if I have an emotional connection with her, then I will continue to see her. And I also want to know why she's not. She's like doesn't want to get physical, right? If she's just playing some fucking game, I'm not playing that game, you know. But if it's genuinely some kind of value that she has to make to want to wait, then I'm cool with it.
Yeah, no.
Alex. Oh yeah, I was going to say one more thing.
The most alpha thing is you could be true to yourself like that. Like don't be like, oh, this is a beta thing. No. Like to being honest to yourself and stuff like that. That's you got to have confidence for that, and that's an alpha trait.
Did you just call me an alpha male, Michaela?
Well, based on our previous conversation, I'm learning I'm trying to interject with words that I'm learning. I'm trying to expand my vocabulary.
I'm kidding.
Kevin's a purple-pilled alpha. But I was just going to say,
I'm a purple-pilled alpha.
I was going to just say, I morality-wise,
dude, who thinks in terms of colors of pills? I just don't. How did your mind even work like that? He's fucking.
If you're in the
orange-pilled.
manosphere space
What?
for too long, you just start thinking. You start combining all.
Yeah, I
these
agree. I think
Are these people's brains melted from TikTok? Is this what's happening?
Funny thing is, a lot of your red pills.
It's freaking green. You're green pilled.
Your red pill
That
savior
means you
alpha male
simp for the
strategy
environment.
actually made that. I didn't make up that term. Your red pill savior AMS made that term, or at least he popularized it. He talks about it all the time. I was going to say that,
dude. Can we just execute everyone that uses the term pill in any sort of way like that?
Go ahead.
About if it's something saying
Would the world be a better pill?
beyond the red pill?
Let's keep it
That's
on
my new
track.
website.
I was just going to say, last thing, if that's your actual like value system, that's fine. But just from my experience, if I was to count like the amount of good girls versus quote unquote bad girls, or high versus low value, the ones that give it up on the first night, to me that's like a mediocre at best benchmark to use, just based on what
I kind of agree with Stefan on that personally, but
Bro, I
again,
feel
it's
like
different
any
values,
girl
man.
that has a crazy fun experience with a guy, let's say a girl meets a guy at 10 a.m. She goes on a hike with him. She's like exploring the nature. She's getting photos. He's showing her all different parts of her personality. He's leading her. He takes her to a cool event. She gets dressed up. Like, let's say they're with each other for 20 hours, and then she sleeps with him. Is that her being a bad girl? This idea of like bad
No,
girl and good
no.
girl
'Cause
thing is
here's the
completely
why
bullshit.
here's the
Anyone
reason
in
why
different
that
situations
No, no, hold on.
will fuck a guy depending on how she feels. What if she's super horny? Some girls are super horny on their period or when they're ovulating, let's say. So let's
This
say
is
she's
exactly the
ovulating, she's
point.
super horny, she wants to fuck this guy so bad, she does, and then does that make her bad? I don't get it. It's stupid.
No, this is the
I think
exact
it's
point I'm
really
making.
stupid.
You gotta earn your Red Wings.
No,
man.
hold
Earn
on.
your Red
The reason that I have this sort of
Dude, I do like this. I
logical
fucking
barrier-
finger her, and then I go boom, boom, and that way she knows that I'm ready for battle when she
Look,
sees those fucking-
the reason why I have this sort of logical
I
barrier
remember
of
that.
saying, okay, well, she's not girlfriend material if she like fucks me too soon, is for the exact reason that you just said, Austin. Some girls, any girl, will, if she just has sex based off of emotions and that's it, who's to say when you guys are in a relationship together, you're going through a bad period of time, and she meets some guy and she has an emotional connection with him, right? So if she fucked you on the first date just because of that emotional connection, then what's to stop her from doing that as well, right? So when you're a wifey material type thing, it's
she's
better.
super invested into the relationship.
Hold on. It's better to have a logical thing in order to keep your because you're making a commitment, right? You need to make sure that there's no box left unchecked. For me, I'm very strict in my. Hold on. I'm very. Hold on, Austin.
The other time she was.
Wait, Austin. Let me finish. I'll let you say in a second. Okay. For me, I am not going to take any risks at all when it comes to a relationship like that, and that's a number one. That's a big proponent of it too. Right. So if I know for a fact that this girl wants to, if I know that this girl wants to fuck me really badly, but she has sort of these standards to not do that, then that will make me trust her more when I'm in a relationship with her.
Kevin,
just give her the Machiavellian psychopathy narcissism test, and you can see.
That is something
that has high psychopathy and low conscious.
I have
would be willing
so
to
much
cheat.
trouble with is people trusting me not to leave them for my friend who happens to be a girl. Like if I'm with somebody who is so afraid that I'm gonna leave them for somebody I'm friends with, it's like, what does that say about our relationship? Like, you are scared to be with me. Like, what? Like, that seems weird, because if I am in a relationship with a guy and I have a girl best friend, I'm bisexual. I like girls. I like guys. But like, I'm not gonna leave you for this girl because we're good friends. And if you're afraid of that,
I'm not necessarily afraid of something like that at all. My entire thing that I'm saying is human beings, because I study psychology stuff all the time, right? I mean, all of us
mate
do.
guarding.
Yeah. So no, this isn't necessarily mate guarding. So with this, it's more so you want to make sure that you have no stone left unturned. Human beings are very, very prone to being psychologically manipulated, very prone to following their emotions. So if you are the type of person as a girl who is very much led by her emotions, that is fine. But you're automatically not going to be wifey material for me, because if I am able to get you to be so emotional to the point where I have sex with you on the first date, then some other guy could be able to do that too once we're in a relationship. But if you have a logical kind of barrier to say, hey, I'm not going to fuck a guy no matter what for the first, 3 dates or 4 dates or whatever, and you're able to stick to that, then that is something that I would trust more. That's all.
Well, wait,
I think it's important for people to not just be fully emotional. A big part of this as well for me too is making sure that somebody actually has certain values that they're consistent with.
Do you give girls psychological tests before you decide to go in a relationship with them? That's what I'm curious of, Kevin.
I probably should, but I've only been in 3 serious relationships.
I think it's like
that's a huge stone left unturned. You have to do those.
Wait, hang on. Let me finish. I think having an arbitrary rule that I don't fuck until the 3rd date is irrational, in my opinion, because the way I see it, like, I'm gonna fuck the shit out of the girl. She's gonna come 5 times. I'm only gonna come once or twice. So it's gonna be a really good experience for her. It's gonna be a better experience for her than it is for me. So I think it's illogical for her, if she likes me, not to fuck me. and it's it would be more logical for her to fuck me, and it would be really illogical.
This is how Alex gets laid. He gets laid. He delivers this right before.
But like, I think having
technically it's a better value proposition for you to fuck me. So
I don't fuck until
I'm gonna make you come 5 times. I'm only gonna come once. So it's a value loaded exchange on your end.
I think it's the pinnacle of illogicalness to have like an arbitrary rule around sex, in my opinion.
No, again, it's because look, it's categorizing women into 2 different categories. Okay, and like I said before, there is scientific evidence that shows that men naturally categorize women into 2 different categories. Either you're a slut or you're a wife. That's it. Again, I don't try to put people like labels like that. It's just how men's minds work.
No, I get.
That's the reason why there's
just put a label on it though. That's what you just said.
Well, it's called the Madonna whore
slut or
complex.
wife.
I just think that's like a.
Well, no, I know. It's just because I couldn't find any other better words for it.
Are you a slut or are you a wife? Put it in the comments below.
No, I'm saying from a biological standpoint, men cannot help but do that. So for me, if you're still in the slut category, I don't look down upon you at all. I just look at you as a temporary mate.
Okay, this is when I step in and give value to the audience. Okay, guys, write these 2 tests down. TyLopez.com/quiz. That's the dark triad test, and it's not called the dark triad test. So you give it to people and you can see what their responses are. The other one is Big 5 personality test. If you see a girl that's very high openness to experience and very low conscientiousness, that is a girl who is most likely to cheat. You're welcome.
Yeah, personality testing. Bring some science. This is exactly an action. Bring some exactly what I want to say.
This is what I give to every girl that I date.
Kevin, human beings are highly prone to temptation and whimsical impulses. When you're serious about someone, it's important to not.
Who gives a fuck what Action Jackson says, dude? Fuck Action Jackson. You know what, Action Jackson? If you're subscribed to my channel, unfollow me. Go fuck yourself, okay?
Jesus Christ, dude.
Yeah, to Alex's
I would argue that like what's it called? That like even if the girl makes you wait until the 10th date, that's no guarantee. Like just going off. Okay, I know this is like a little bit of a personal example, but like my mom, according to the story of both of them, like fucking made my dad wait like God knows how long. And you know what wound up happening 10 years later? She cheated on him, right? So, like, I don't think any of that is a guarantee. I don't think you're.
Of course, it's not a guarantee.
Nothing
is ever a guarantee. It's more
because
so.
you didn't get my actionable information ahead of time.
No.
Now you have it. Now you can use it.
You're decreasing the risk. You're decreasing the risk.
This is risk minimization, okay?
Alice, let me ask you
Kevin
this.
uses
Are you
18
more
dates to the first lay. I use tests.
Are you more?
I use.
Are you more likely? Hold on. Are you more likely to cheat or divorce if you have a higher partner count? Yes or no?
But are we talking about like what? Like between 5 and 10, between 10 and 100? Like what's the
just more in general?
No, I think if we go between 5 and 200, then the answer would be yes. I think if we're going between 5 and 10, the answer would be no.
I'd have to find it, but there are studies that show definitively the higher the partner count, the more the increase in infidelity rates and divorce rates.
But is that a correlation or causation?
You and Andrew, what's his name? Andrew.
A lot of girls with high body count make guys wait for plenty of dates while they're already smashing the guy they're cool
that
with.
is very true.
Yeah,
Very
exactly.
true.
And so
They say the girl that makes you wait 3 dates is
this is why it's
hooking up with
important
the
for you
promoter in
to
the
be able
bathroom.
to understand what's
Exactly.
going on there, and you have to ask the right questions and stuff, right? Because you can definitely. That can definitely happen where you're just like she's smashing this dude while you're just simping and waiting. That's awful to do. So you have to use your intuition when it comes to that. And that's why it's important to date a lot of women, because the more and more you date, the more that you'll understand those subtle little nuances that most guys, it'll just fly right over their heads.
I mean, I think Austin's method is better but the problem with his method is the girl could just lie about the test if she knows what she's doing. My method.
The thing is, you give it to her and you say, hey, this is kind of Machiavellian the way you give the test. Actually, the big 5 is hard to fake. They're just answering it. But the dark triad test, you don't say, this is a test to determine whether or not you're a piece of shit. You just say, oh, this is a personality quiz. Let's see if we match up on it.
Oh, yeah. I think my method is probably even better. My method is I fuck her for like a year and I see if I catch her in any lies. And if after a year I haven't caught her in any lies and I feel like she's loyal and I get to know her, then I consider a relationship. Like I just think that's like the best method ever.
I'm
we should combine all our methods.
Like 365 days, you're like, all right, we're going, and then you're like testing her in bed. You're like, who is the president of the United States? Like seeing if she
Well, it's not
lies.
exactly like that. But like, I think if you
see
hang
if
out
she
with someone-
actually likes Trump or she's just
if
saying
you
that
hang out with
she
someone
likes
for
you.
a year and they're a liar, you're going to catch them in some lies.
Oh my
and you're also going to get a pretty good idea if they're loyal or not. Okay, I do want to call this stream. We're going on for 3.5 hours.
Hold on, let me post the link so people can get.
Okay, so here's an actual study that I want to see what Tom Brokaw says here. I'm gonna link out to that, and then yeah, I don't know how to do this from StreamYard, but yeah, that's probably the exact thing that I'm talking about. Here.
I'll have to look at it a little bit later. But okay, let's
It's
just
very
give,
well documented.
Let's just give closing. Let's just let Nick and Nate say like a few words, and then we'll call it. Nick, go ahead.
All right, thanks, Nate. Nick, appreciate it, man. Thanks for coming on.
Okay.
All right, Nate.
No,
I thought Nick was going.
Okay, so one of the things that I think, back to kind of the incel argument, I think a lot of these guys are going to destroy civilization because, number one, they've been fooled into thinking that picking up women, lovemaking, etc., is instinctual, that it's not a skill. I blame this on the Disneyfication of American culture. If you look in other cultures like European, African, South American, it's understood that it's a skill. Also, you look at a lot of these femme cells, right? They, and I've met women who are, a 2 out of 10. They think that just by existing, they're supposed to get the millionaire model doctor driving the Lamborghini who owns the fucking mansion. And the thing of it is like both the incel has to learn the skill, but also the femcel, she has to lower her standards to a more realistic level. If you're 4'5", 300 pounds, frizzy haired, pig nose, you're not going to get the millionaire model doctor. You need
and Nick, it's up to you to create the incel femcel date matching system.
Yes, exactly. I was about to say
like
that.
a Tinder.
The incels and the femcels need to hook up.
The
with each other. Stop complaining.
insert or something.
That's literally all it is.
It's
like that one meme.
Dude, instead of Instagram, it's just like spelled with a C, like Instagram or something.
Just good old Instagram. Did Michaela just leave?
I guess.
I think she's probably just like.
Yeah, she'll probably just get kicked out.
I'm sick of this guy's bullshit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, look, I find it very interesting that incel guys are just like, oh, well, there's like no women out there for me. And then they don't want to. It's like, dude, if you're going off of looks match, because they're always talking about looks theory and stuff, your looks max as an incel is an ugly fat woman. All right. Because fat women are automatically going to be the bottom 50th percentile in the US because most people are obese in the US. So that's the way that you sell.
Dude, you don't know what it's like going through life in a bigger
bottom
body.
50% of people hook up with each other. Go ahead. Awesome.
Okay, let's let Nate talk and then we'll call it. I'm so tired.
Is essentially just for Kevin, and it's, do you still stand by your argument about like superhero media and just like media in general creating a generation of incels, or have any of your stances on that changed?
I do, especially
what would be your
more
main
specifically superhero movies.
Like in general, like across the board, or in most recent years?
I would say most recent years. Around the time of the MCU for the most part. I think DC movies do a little bit of a better job in general. But I want to make a distinction between the movies and the comics, right? Because the comics, at the very least, they have sort of like this narrative that builds up over time. I think it's possible with superhero movies. A big part of it is that they're constrained with time, right? So the best superhero movies, they do have an emphasis on like the hero's journey at the beginning, but especially like later superhero movies, especially one of those ones where they have all the people congregate, like the Avengers and all that. They've already gained their superpowers and stuff. It's just different, and I just don't think it's there's other forms of media that are way better in terms of telling the hero story and stuff. Such as
drop a 420 in the chat for Michaela.
But like Japanese anime in general does a way better job of that. Ironically,
do you mean Japanese anime, like just anime as an entire medium, is better than superhero media as a whole, or just when it's dealing with superheroes.
Yeah,
I
this
would
is
say
a good.
in
This is a good
general,
example. It's
but-
like
but
this doesn't matter
superheroes is a good
at all. It's like why don't we focus
superheroes
on
is a
making
good,
money?
example.
And
So My Hero Academia, for example,
Mhm.
it's about superheroes, but funny enough, it does an excellent job of showing what true masculinity is through its superheroes, like All Might, for example. I don't know if you're familiar with that, right? Because he has to overcome all those things. That's true masculinity, as opposed to somebody like Superman. Even though I like Superman, he's literally just like a demigod, just like you know.
Well,
so
I would
different.
argue
Superhero movies are for
specifically-
dorks, straight up.
I would say specifically, do you think that it has more to do with people who are writing it as well as the changing of the culture rather than specifically the medium? Because I mean, you bring up Superman, although there are countless examples of the character acting in ways that allow him to surpass both his powers and
4.2
therefore
GPA.
be better as a hero and be an example of masculinity. Or do you think that it has no value at all in that case?
I think a lot of it does have to do. It's a mix of both, but mainly it has to do with the writing, which is
Mhm.
largely responsible as well for. I consider it blue pilled media. The same way it's the same shit that's saying, "Oh, there's one out there for all of us. Right? You just have to be yourself. Just you be you."
All right, guys, I'm gonna
Right?
bounce.
It's
A lot
a
of
similar thing.
Japanese manga is focused on the story